Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is bread. B-R-E-A-D.
Really?
You bet your life! The DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only...
Groucho! Hey, that's me, Groucho Marx, the Queen of the May. Thank you. Well, here I am again with $1,500 for one of our couples. George Fenneman, who's first?
We invited some girl gas station attendants and some hot rod drivers to the program. And just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Miss Dorothy Donata and Don Stedman. And here they are. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, kids, for the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers. And if you say the secret word, you'll split $100 in cash between you. It's a common word, something you see every day. A hot rod driver and a girl service attendant, eh? Dorothy Donata? I presume you're the girl service attendant? Eh?
Yes, I am, sir.
I thought so. You're wearing pumps, that's why. Where are you from, Dorothy?
Oh, I'm from the beer and pretzel capital of the world, Reading, Pennsylvania.
There's a drunk in the first row. Right? And, Don Stedman, you're the hot rod driver. Where are you from? Hot Springs?
No, sir. I'm from the Sooner State, Oklahoma.
You both look like fairly new models. Don, how old are you?
22.
22. And what's your age, Dorothy?
22.
Well, you still got the original paint job, huh? Are you married, Dorothy?
No, I'm not.
Why not?
Oh, I still have time yet.
So have I. Shall we dance? Why aren't you married, Don?
Well, I still got a little ways to go.
Well, if you're driving a hot rod, it won't be long before you'll get there. How do you go about building one of your highway rockets?
Well, you rebuild the front end, put in new kingpins and new shocks all the way around, and then you have to change the gears in your differential. You got to get your manifold. Some of them are running 4 pots this year.
No what?
Some of them are running 4 pots now.
Well, I've been half-potted, but I didn't know. What is a pot, anyhow?
That's a carburetor.
Why don't you call it a carburetor?
Well, that's just like building a stock car.
I see. You're too snobbish to call it a... Well, what else? What else do they do?
Well, there was one fellow that put 2 front ends, one on the front, one on the back.
Well, what is the object of that? That sounds...
Well, you'll have to admit it's different.
You seem to be more interested in freaks than you are in locomotion. Dorothy, how about some service? You've been standing there all this time, and you haven't even wiped my windshield. Tell me, what do you think of hot rodders?
Oh, I think they're swifty.
You think they're what?
Swifty.
Did you know you were swifty?
Sure, I knew it.
Now, where do you attend your gas pumps, Dorothy?
The Gilmore Serve Yourself service station, Beverly Boulevard.
I see. Thought that's what you were there for. What do you mean, serve yourself?
You just serve yourself. You come in and serve your own gas and wipe your own windshield and check your own oil, and then you pay me.
If I'm going to do all that, I'll put the money in my own pocket and leave, huh? You call that a service station?
Mm-hmm.
Suppose a woman drives into your station. Do you make her do all that work?
I treat the men and women alike.
Well, if you ever expect to get married, you're going to have to revise that policy. Not much, Dorothy, but some, huh? What do you girls call yourselves? I'm sure you don't refer to each other as girl gas station attendants, do you?
No, we call each other gas jockeys.
There's a whole new language sprung up. I'm completely out of touch with the outside world. Do you save hot rod drivers?
Oh, we certainly do.
Well, will you save me one the next time I come in there? Now, how much gas does the average hot rod driver buy?
Well, it all depends how much money they have in their pockets. We had one come in today that bought 3 cents worth.
Well, can he get out of the station with 3 cents worth? What do? Drop it in his ear? Don, how far can you get on 3 cents worth of gas?
Well, I've never been that cheap on it. Let's
assume that you were broke, not necessarily cheap. Let's say you were broke and only had 3 cents. How far would you go in your car?
Well, I bought 5 cents worth and I got...
But you wouldn't be so cheap to buy 3 cents. What about 4 cents worth? Nothing under a nickel, huh? Okay, how far do you get on a nickel's worth of gas?
Oh, I almost got home.
You mean all the way to Oklahoma? Now, how fast can one of your hot rods travel, Don?
Well, if you push it, it should go between...
No, I mean if you're inside the car. This is with a nickel's worth of gas, I guess.
No, when I mean push it, I mean you got your foot in the carburetor.
Everything you say has another meaning. How fast did you say you could go?
Well, most of them are... I won't say if they push it. Most of them...
You can say it again if you want. I'm inured to everything now.
If you push it, they go from between 120 to 160.
Mm-hmm. Well, where do you drive 150 miles an hour? And where are you going? And what's your hurry?
Well, we're racing against the clock at Lake El Mirage.
Does the clock run alongside of you?
No, I mean, we're racing against time.
Oh, time.
Well,
he's kind of cute at that, isn't he? Dorothy, do you like him?
Sure I do. Very much.
Well, I like him too, Dorothy. Don, you'll have to choose between us. I'm not going to do very well, I can tell you. Dorothy, I think you'd be perfectly safe going on a ride with Don here. After all, at 150 miles an hour, he has to keep both hands on the steering wheel. Isn't that right, Don?
No, not necessarily.
Well, if the girl you take out isn't an angel, she will be by the time you get back. When you see me crossing the street, all I ask is just stop and wait for about 20 minutes, huh? Until I'm safely on the other side. How carefully do you drive, Don?
Well, most of the guys that drive roadsters 90% of them are very careful. They take pride in their cars and they drive them safe, and mechanically they are A1. We're now trying to get them off the streets from racing by driving it, having the races up at El Mirage, and they're racing against time only, and the cars are in perfect condition, and that's about it.
Well, my advice for you is to take your car into your nearest DeSoto Plymouth dealer. As a matter of fact, I think during the last war it was proven that many of the best airplane pilots were kids who had been driving hot rods. Well, only let me know when you're coming down my street, will you? Now that we've discussed the hot rod situation, let's see how well you two make out in the quiz. Now, in just 1 minute, you're going to play your Bet Your Life for a chance at the $1,500 question.
The best in service at a fair price. That's what the DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America offer you when you take your car to any of them for service, no matter what make of car you drive. These DeSoto Plymouth dealers believe in giving every customer a fair deal. This fair deal consists of expert mechanics working with the best tools and equipment to give you an efficient job every time. Also, a desire on the part of every dealer to treat you courteously and to charge you a fair price. It's easy to see. A DeSoto Plymouth dealer wants you for a steady and satisfied customer. So next time your car needs attention, won't you stop in at the sign of an authorized DeSoto Plymouth dealer? And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth.
Now, let's see if you two will get a chance at the $1,500. Fenneman, tell them the rules.
Each of our three couples has $20. They bet as much of that 20 as they want on each of 4 questions. The couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,500 question at the end of the show. Our other 2 couples are in a waiting room off stage, so they don't know what's happening out here.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected songs by Rodgers and Hart as your category, right? Here's your first question. How much of the 20 will you try?
10.
Now, what is the title of this song? Play, Jerry. What is it?
Blue Moon.
Blue Moon is right.
And they're on their way with $30.
And how much of the 30 will you bet?
15.
$15. What is the title of this one?
Where or when is correct.
They're starting, Groucho. They have $45.
All right, you got $45. Here's your third question. How much of the 45?
$40.
$40. Give me the title of this one. Okay, Jerry.
Can't be love.
This Can't Be Love is correct.
They're really climbing now. They have $85.
All right, you're right back in that hot rod now. Is your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 85?
$70.
$70.
$70. Let's see if you can identify this song.
And then My Heart Stood Still.
My Heart Stood Still is right.
And they wind up with a grand total of $155.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Stick around now. You may get the chance at the big question.
Groucho, the secret word is still bread.
I know that, George.
Well, perhaps the next couple will say it.
I know that, too.
We invited some tax assessors to the show, and
I didn't know that.
Oh. And just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected one of them, Mrs. Helen Carr. Her partner, Mr. Bill Redding, is a married man from the audience. And here they come. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome to You Bet Your Life, and if you say the secret word, you'll split $100 in cash. It's a common word, something you see every day. A tax assessor, eh? That's you, Mr. Reddick?
No, I'm a hotel clerk.
I thought you said you were a tax assessor.
No, you just said that.
Oh, is that where I heard it, huh? Then you're a tax assessor, Mrs. Helen Carr?
Yes, I am.
How long have you two been married?
I'm not married to him. No.
Well, don't come running to me with your trouble. Aren't you ashamed, Mr. Reddick? Breaking up a happy home like hers?
No, I just met her a few minutes ago.
Fast worker, eh? Where are you from, you rascal, you? Mr. Reddick, where are you from?
Well, I'm from College View or Peanut Hill, Nebraska. That's a suburb just outside of Lincoln.
I didn't know Lincoln had any suburbs. And where are you from, Mrs. Carr?
Originally Boone, Iowa.
Boone, is that named after Daniel Boone? Boone?
Yes, it is.
Named after Daniel Boone.
Yeah.
Do you know what he was famous for?
Well, no, I don't. He had a coonskin cap.
There's a man spent his whole life as a hero, and he wound up being identified as a fellow who wore a coonskin cap. Huh? When I die, I'll be known as an old mustache, I suppose. How long have you been married, Mr. Reddick?
Oh, about 31 or 32 years.
Mm-hmm. How did you meet this poor misled wife of yours?
Well, at the time I was a night clerk, and I had an Excelsior motorcycle. This particular morning, while I was rushing home, and just as I scooted around the corner, she was stooping over to set down a pail of garbage.
It's a very romantic meeting,
I landed up, mixed up with the garbage and with an injured knee, and it took me about 2 weeks before I was able to ride the motorcycle again. And during that intermission, she used to come around and sit on the front porch.
That's known as a Freudian slip. I used to know a girl who wore one of those. Huh? Now, Mrs. Carr, isn't it unusual for a woman to be a tax assessor?
Oh, no. 6 out of 7 of us are women.
What is the other one, a giraffe? Now, as a tax deputy, what are your duties?
I go around the county door to door taking statements for personal property.
Just what is personal property? Huh?
Personal property is anything you own or use.
That's the broadest statement I ever heard. You mean I have to pay a tax on my neighbor's shower?
No, not...
Well, I use it all the time. Now, Mrs. Carr, pretend I'm a housewife and you're making a routine call. Now, go ahead, ask me the usual questions.
So, good morning. I want to take your statement. Do you have any real estate?
I have a 50-foot lot. Continue.
How deep is it?
It's about 30 feet deep. That's only at high tide. Go on.
Do you own any personal property?
Furniture? Yeah, all the furniture in my living room is new. We got it by sending in soap coupons.
Well, what do you have in the other rooms?
I have 3 million bars of soap. Huh? Well, I came clean that time. Well, now that I know all about tax assessments, let's see how well you two are going to make out with You Bet Your Life. Now, you run your $20 into more than the other couples, and you get a chance at the $1,500 DeSoto Plymouth question. I can't tell you how much our first couple won, but Fenneman is off stage to remind our listeners.
The hot rod driver and the girl gas attendant earned $155.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected pictures on paper money as your category. Is that right?
That's correct.
Now, here's your first question. How much of the 20 will you try?
$10.
$10. Whose picture's on the $5 bill?
That's Abraham Lincoln.
Lincoln. You knew that from Lincoln, Nebraska.
You're off to a good start with $30.
Well, you got $30. Remember, you're going for $1,500 tonight. Now, how much of the 30 will you bet?
We'll bet the whole 30.
The whole 30. Whose picture is on the $20 bill?
That's Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson is right.
Now they have $60.
Well, you're really gamblers. Now you got $60. Here's your third question. How much of the 60?
We bet the 60.
You're going to bet the 60. Whose picture is on the $10 bill?
That's Alexander Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton.
They're really climbing now, Groucho. They have $120.
Got $120. How much of the 120 are you going to pay? You're going to bet.
120.
You're going to bet the whole works, huh? Whose picture is on the $1 bill?
George Washington.
George Washington.
And they wind up with a grand total of $240.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Now, we'll soon know who gets the chance at the $1,500 question.
You know, friends, when you're out driving in a long automobile trip, keep in mind that there are more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast.
Fenneman, don't you know when a person's driving a car, he's supposed to keep his mind on the road?
Well then, folks, when you're at home, thinking about that trip in your car, remember there's a DeSoto Plymouth dealer near you.
I can practically feel his hot breath on my spare tire.
That's just the warmer weather ahead, Groucho. And it's just one more reason why you should drive in to a DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Touché, Fenneman. Now let's get back to You Bet Your Life. Who's ahead?
Well, the tax assessor and the married man are leading with $240, and the secret word is still bread. We invited some game wardens and some commercial fishermen to the program tonight, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Warden Walter Shannon and fisherman Vince Devlahovich. And here they are. Gentlemen, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, boys, to the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. And if you say the secret word, you'll divide $100 in cash between you. It's a common word, something you see every day. A commercial fisherman and a game warden, eh? What is your name?
Devlahovich.
Devlahovich, huh? What is that, Russian?
No, that's Yugoslavonian.
Yugoslavonian, huh? Are you from Yugoslavia?
I was born here, San Pedro.
Are you a skipper or a member of the crew?
I'm a skipper.
A skipper, huh? Could you skip around for me here? Did you ever wear a Skipperelli gown or a hat or anything? You think they'd pay to come in, wouldn't you? You're the game warden, Mr. Shannon?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell me, Warden, this sounds like old times. Can we call you? Warden, what are your principal duties?
Our principal duties are to watch people who are hunting and fishing.
Oh, a television fan, eh? Or as we say in the business, TV. That means terrible vaudeville, huh? Ah, there are still diehards that listen to radio. Huh? Why do you watch people fishing and hunting? Haven't you got anything better to do, Mr. Shannon?
To see if they violate the fish and game laws.
Well, can't they violate it without you watching them? What kind of laws do they violate?
They catch and hunt out of season, catch fish out of season. Sometimes shoot females.
What kind of females? Huh?
Such as does, deer.
Does females, you mean? What do you mean by does females?
And the deer, does females are called does.
What about them females? Huh? Or dumb females? That's even more accurate, huh? Now, Warden, what gives you the most trouble on your job?
As a rule, people hunting and fishing out of season.
Mm-hmm. Now, when is the deer season?
In the southern part of the state, here it runs from about August 7th to October 15th.
Well, how can the deer tell when it's open season?
Well, I suppose by the bullets whizzing by.
I guess that's true, huh? And they know for sure when they see the hunters dropping like flies, too. Now, mackerel bait, around here, where is the best place to catch sardines?
In the ocean.
No, what I meant was, in what part of the ocean do you catch sardines?
Well, offshore of San Diego up to Santa Barbara City.
What kind of fish do you catch?
Mostly sardines and tuna.
Now, how much do you get for your tuna?
Well, the yellowfin tuna, you get $310 a ton. When we get a load of tuna, which is 90 ton, we split the money. The crew gets 65% of the share, and the boat gets 35%.
The boat walks up and asks for it? Anything unusual ever happen to you when you're off on one of these fishing trips?
Well, yes. A couple of months ago, we were pinched by the game warden for...
Where did he pinch you?
Well, we were supposed to be fishing in Santa Monica Bay, but...
What happened?
Well, we paid a fine. Each crew Each crew member paid $25 fine.
And the boat pays part of it, too?
Yes.
The boat walks right down to the police station? That's a very intelligent boat, you know that? I don't know what you need a crew for at all. Well, I know all about fishing and hunting. Now, let's see how well you two make out in the battle for the $1,500 question. You beat the other two couples, and you win the chance at all that money. I can't tell you how much our first couples won, but Fenneman's going to remind our listeners.
The tax assessor and the married man are ahead with $240.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected national parks as your category. Is that right? All right. Now talk right up into the microphone. How much of the $20 you're going to try?
$10.
$10. In what state is Hot Springs National Park?
Arkansas.
Arkansas is right.
All right, Groucho, with $30.
All right. Remember, you're going for $1,500 tonight. How much of the 30 will you try?
25.
25. In what state is the Everglades National Park?
Florida.
Florida is correct.
Now they have $55.
$55. Here's your third question. How much of the 55?
50.
50. In what state is Zion National Park?
Utah.
Utah is right.
Now they have $105.
Now you got $105. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 105?
100.
It's okay with me.
100.
Okay. In what state is Mammoth Caves National Park?
Kentucky.
Kentucky is right.
And they wind up with a grand total of $205. And that means the tax assessor and the married man with $240 get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,500 question. Is your car ready for the warmer weather? If not, why not stop in now at a DeSoto Plymouth dealer's? To put your car in tip-top condition, your DeSoto Plymouth dealer will give it an engine tune-up. This should be done to prepare your car for the warmer weather ahead. So be sure to stop in at the sign of an authorized DeSoto Plymouth dealer first chance you get. No matter which of the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers you visit for that check tune-up, you can be sure of getting efficient, courteous service at a fair price wherever you see the sign of an authorized DeSoto Plymouth dealer. And here is the tax assessor and the married man, the winning couple, all ready for the DeSoto Plymouth $1,500 question, Groucho.
Here we go for $1,500. You ready?
Yes, sir.
I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you, so think carefully and please, no help from the audience. Here it is. The Pony Express took 9 days to travel from St. Joseph, Missouri to the Western Terminal. For $1,500, what was the western end of the Pony Express run? What is the answer you two have decided upon?
Salt Lake.
I'm sorry. It's Sacramento, California. So that means the big question next week will be worth $2,000. Well, you lost the big money, but you won $240 in the quiz. Congratulations and thanks to both of you.
You Bet Your Life is a John Goodell production, transcribed from Hollywood, directed by Robert Dwan and Bernie Smith. Music by Jerry Fielding. Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this time for the Groucho Marx Show, You Bet Your Life, presented by the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation. And don't forget, next week, the big question will be worth $2,000.
Well, Bing Crosby's champing at the bit, so good night, folks. And remember, just be sure to see your DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Folks, here's a tip from the National Safety Council. Two of the most important rules of the road are courtesy and common sense. This is George Fenneman, signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast.
Time magazine featured it. Life magazine photographed it. People everywhere stayed home to hear it. And here is your chance if you missed it. Presenting the College Quiz Ball with Alan Ludden as master of the quiz. Because of unprecedented interest in these exciting contests between college teams of 4 from coast to coast, the National Broadcasting Company is rebroadcasting the best games of this unusual series. And so tonight, by transcription, you will hear the girls from Mount Holyoke College fight it out with the University of Notre Dame from their respective campuses at South Hadley, Massachusetts, and Notre Dame, Indiana. And now, let's meet the teams. First, the team members from Notre Dame.
Pat DePasquale, Somerville, Massachusetts. Frank Newman, Brooklyn, New York.
Jack Doherty, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Jim Cantrell, Lexington, Kentucky.
Charles Tan of station WMAQ in Chicago will be the Notre Dame referee. And here's the fair quartet from Mount Holyoke.
Betsy Witters, Summit, New Jersey.
Mara Mullins, Birmingham, Alabama.
Barbara Klickstein, Medford, Massachusetts.
Ellen Richards, Sao Paulo, Brazil.
The Mount Holyoke referee is Jim Strong of station WTIC in Hartford.
Now, how about those rules, Roger?
Right, Alan, and here they are. Alan Ludden asks a toss-up question worth 10 points. And the first team to signal it knows the answer gets a chance to answer it. When the University of Notre Dame signals, you'll hear... And when Mount Holyoke College signals, you'll hear... By means of a special electronic selector, the team which signals first, even by a split second, activates its light here in New York City and makes it impossible for the other team's light to flash. If a team gives a wrong answer to the toss-up question, the other team is given a chance to answer it. And whichever team gives the right answer gets a bonus question worth a stated number of points. The team with the most points at the end of the game is the winner and returns next week to defend its title here in the College Quiz Bowl.
Thank you, Roger. Now remember, teams, you may interrupt the toss-up question before I've finished asking it. But if you do, and if your answer is wrong, your team will be penalized 5 points, and I'll repeat the question, giving the other team a free crack at it. Okay, those are the rules. And that's the opening whistle, so let's go. Here's your first toss-up. And may I tell you at the beginning, the bonus question, the first bonus question tonight is worth 30 points. Here's the toss-up that might earn it for you. The chief engineer of the Panama Canal Commission, a well-known president of the American Tobacco Company, and a very famous Mount Holyoke.
They're all named after George Washington.
Right, for 10 points. You interrupted the question, I was going to ask, and a very famous agricultural research scientist all had the same first two names for 10 points. What are those two names? And you said George Washington. George Washington Goethals, George Washington Hill, George Washington Carver. All right, Mount Holyoke, here's your 30-point bonus that you earned by guessing what I was going to ask. You work as a team, on a bonus question. In literature, various characters have sometimes been sentenced with peculiar punishments. Now, for 10 points apiece, I want you to name the following characters. First of all, she was condemned to wear a scarlet A on her breast.
That was in the Scarlet Letter by Hawthorne.
Hester, Hezebel.
I want her name.
Hester.
That's her first name.
Prim.
That's right, Hester Prynne, right for 10 points. Now, tell me who this is. He was condemned in Hades to forever try to roll a stone
That
up
was
his...
Sisyphus.
That's right, for 10 points. She says Sisyphus, you notice. All right. He was imprisoned in a maze of his own construction.
The Pool of Minotaur? No, Minotaur.
No, he was imprisoned. He was imprisoned in a maze of his own construction.
Oh.
He was himself imprisoned there by a king. Time is called. Daedalus, who contrived the labyrinth of Crete and was himself imprisoned there by King Midas. He built his own prison.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go with a 30-point bonus coming up. Here's your toss-up for 10 points. What wildflower might remind you of the Cinderella fairy tale? Notre Dame.
Jim Cantrell.
Lady Slipper.
Right, for 10 points, Jim. Okay, I didn't expect Notre Dame to get that one. Here we go, the bonus question, Notre Dame, worth 30 points. It's a bonus question that's going to test your knowledge of natural history and your knowledge of geography. You got to kind of think this out here. For 10 points apiece, work as a team and identify, first of all, the island or island group that has the same name as a kind of finch.
Kind of what? Canary Islands, isn't it?
That's right, the Canary Islands. That's right. F-I-N-C-H it was. All right. Now, name the Mediterranean island or island groups the name of which sounds like the same, or sounds the same, as a kind of evergreen tree. The name of which sounds the same as a kind of evergreen tree, a Mediterranean island or island group.
Cyprus.
Did I hear Cyprus? Cyprus, right, for 10 points. The island or island group that has the same name as a kind of small, stocky horse.
Shetland Islands.
Shetland Islands, right, for 10 points. Okay, now before we move along to another toss-up question, let's find out what the stakes are in this quiz game. Roger?
Each week, Good Housekeeping magazine will award to the school of the winning team a $500 gift to be administered by the college. It may go to a scholarship fund or to a campus activity. And each member of the losing team will receive an attractive, dependable Whitnor wristwatch, a distinguished member of the Longines Whitnor family of fine watches. Since 1866, maker of watches of the highest character. Well, those are the stakes. Now, with 20 minutes to go, Notre Dame has 40 points, Mount Holyoke has 30 points. And back to another toss-up, Alan.
And coming up is a 30-point musical bonus. That's the one you might earn if you get this toss-up. Here it is, for 10 points. Listen carefully. For 10 points, state the scientific law that Archimedes discovered when he... Notre Dame.
Jim Cantrell. I think you're going to ask for Archimedes' law of flotation. That is, a body will sink until it displaces its own weight of water, and then it will float.
That is right for 10 points. Is that right, Mr. Reagan? Is that right? Archimedes' law of flotation. I didn't have flotation on my card here, but that's all right. You got a 30-point musical bonus by knowing that, Notre Dame. Now, you know these people. Their names are all song titles. You're going to get 10 points apiece if you'll tell us who they are. First.
That's my Bill, I think.
Bill, right, for 10 points. All right, who's this?
Jim? Laura.
Right, Laura. Okay, who's this?
Born on a mountaintop in Tennessee. Davy Crockett.
Right, for 10 points. You got them all, by God. Score of time, Roger.
Right now, we have 18 and a half minutes to go. Notre Dame has 80, and Mount Holyoke has 30, Alan.
And a 30-point bonus is coming up. Here's your toss-up. According to Rudyard Kipling, and for 10 points, who are sisters under their skin? Mount Holyoke.
Barbara Clickstein.
The Colonel's Lady and Sadie O'Grady.
All right, I'll accept it. Judy O'Grady, Sadie O'Grady. We got the last names. The Colonel Lady, you got the poem. Very good. You got a 30-point bonus. Here you are, Mount Holyoke. In American history, men have had quite different reactions to the possibility of their being nominated for president. Now, for 10 points apiece, identify the men who either accepted or rejected presidential candidacy in the following words. First, I do not choose to run.
Coolidge.
Calvin Coolidge, right. Speak up, I want to hear you. Okay, my hat's in the ring, the fight is on, and
Alfred E. Smith?
And I'm stripped to the buff.
Smith?
No.
Oh, God.
Cleveland? No, I miscalled another virile guy by the name of Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, no.
Roosevelt. Okay, who said this? If nominated, I will not accept. If elected, I will not serve.
Eisenhower, did you say?
No.
No? Oh, Stevenson?
No.
Wilson?
No. William Sherman. William Sherman.
Gadzooks.
That's a very famous quote, as a matter of fact. Score in time, Roger.
Right now, we have 17 minutes to go, Gadzooks. Notre Dame has 80, Mount Holyoke has 50, Alan.
Gadzooks didn't say any of them.
Well, she did.
Here we go with a 40-point bonus coming up. A 40-pointer coming up. Here's your toss-up. Pascal said that if her nose had been a little shorter... Mount Holyoke.
Barbara Clickstein.
Cleopatra.
Right, Cleopatra. You interrupted the toss-up question. Let me read it for the benefit of the audience. Pascal said that if her nose had been a little shorter, the whole face of the world would have been changed. For 10 points, who was she? And it was Cleopatra. Here's your bonus question, Mount Holyoke. I'm going to read you... Now listen, on a bonus question, you've got plenty of time, so let me read it all, will you?
Yeah.
I'm going to read the opening sentences of 4 famous novels. And for 10 points apiece, you're to identify the title of each work and its author. You got that? The title and the author.
Right.
Here are the opening lines. First of all, in that part of the western division of this kingdom, which is commonly called Somersetshire, there lately lived and perhaps lives still a gentleman whose name was Allworthy.
Oh, that's Tom Jones by Fielding.
Right, for 10 points. All right. I was born in the year 1632 in the city of York of a good family, though not of that country, my father being a foreigner of Bremen who settled first at Hull.
That's Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe.
That's right, for 10 points. Okay. It is this day 348 years, 6 months, and 19 days since the good people of Paris were awakened by a grand peal from all the bells in the 3 districts of the Cité, the Université, and the Ville.
Oh. 300... It isn't Tale of Two Cities, is it?
Dickens, The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Hugo?
Right, for 10 points. Notre Dame by Hugo. Okay, here's your last one. An unassuming young man was traveling in midsummer from his native city of Hamburg to Davos-Platz in the canton of Cuisance on a 3 weeks visit.
Oh, Gad.
Is that...
That's what I said.
Is that William Tell? Is it by Gold? Is it... No.
What'd you say, Alan?
It's Magic Mountain by Thomas Mann. All right. No, okay, we're scoring time now, Roger.
Right now, Alan, we have 15 minutes to go. Mount Holyoke has climbed into the lead with 90 points. Notre Dame trails by 10 with 80.
All right, and I'll tell you this much. Here's a musical toss-up for you coming up, and a 40-point bonus in the offing. This is a musical toss-up to test your familiarity with great operatic arias. You are to signal now as soon as you can tell us the opera from which this aria is taken. Notre Dame.
Jim Cantrell.
La Tosca. Right. Tosca. Only name of the opera. You've got a chance now at a 40-point. Boy, this is a tough one, too. This is a 40-point bonus. Notre Dame, if you traveled by boat from Athens, Greece, to Odessa, Russia, you would pass through 5 bodies of water. Now, I'm going to give you 5 points for each of these bodies of water that you can name, and you'll get 40 points if you name all 5.
The Aegean?
Right.
The Mediterranean?
No, the Bosporus.
Right.
The Sea of Marmora.
Right.
The Dardanelles.
Right.
And the Black Sea.
Right, you got all 40 points. So, goodness sake. You got all... Who was that? Who was that? Who was that listed them off? Chuck? Francis?
That was Jim Cantrell.
Boy, Jim, you did a good job there. All right, scoring time now, Rod.
Right now, 13 and a half minutes to go. Notre Dame has 130. Mount Holyoke has 90, Alan.
And I got a 30-point bonus coming up. Here's your toss-up. Recently, during a serious congressional debate, a representative quoted Lewis Carroll, quote, Alice asked the White Queen for some jam. The White Queen stated, jam? Jam yesterday, jam tomorrow, but never jam today. Now, for 10 points, what was the subject of the House debate? Notre Dame.
Frank Newman.
Question over the tariff.
Can you take it, Mount Holyoke?
The atomic energy?
No, dear, it was the pay raise for Congress.
Oh.
In other words, jam for the members. All right, we still got a 30-point bonus coming up. Here's your toss-up. She called Orestes' brother. Mount Holyoke.
Ellen Richards.
Electra.
Right, for 10 points. Iphigenia's sister, and for 10 points, who was she? All right, here's your 30-point bonus that you earned by that. You know, it's correct to say a herd of cattle.
Yeah.
And a flock of sheep. Now, when referring to a group of these animals, of course. Now, for 5 points apiece, what is the correct collective noun other than, and understand that, other than herd or flock, to use in referring to a group of each of the following? 5 points apiece. Quail.
Covey.
Right. Shad.
School.
Right. Wolves.
Pack.
Right. Lions.
Lion, pear? But they travel too.
Pride.
Oh.
Geese.
Oh, that's flock too.
No, other than herd or flock.
Groups.
With this, I wouldn't know. Gaggle is the word. Whales.
What was that one?
Whales. Other than flock or herd.
Would that be school?
I'll accept school. It is also gam. Oh.
That's the whistle for the halftime break. And before we continue with tonight's game, I'd like to remind you that the contest you are hearing actually took place last February. And so questions and allusions to current events then are not so current now. But they are included to make this rebroadcast game complete. Now, with 8.5 minutes to go, the score, Notre Dame 130, Mount Holyoke 120. Back to the game and our master of the quiz, Alan Ludden.
A musical bonus is coming up next. Here's your toss-up. 30-point musical bonus. This is the toss-up that might win it for you. Listen carefully. If Margarita Carmen Cancino, Norma Jean Baker, and Leslie Towns Hope were to get together to talk shop, what occupation... Mount Holyoke.
Betsy Waters.
Movies.
Why? You're right for 10 points.
They're all the first names of the names of actresses before they took their present names.
Oh, is that so? You got the right answer for 10 points. Marguerite Cancino is who?
Oh, gosh, I don't know.
Rita Hayworth. Norma Jean Baker is...
That's Lana Turner, isn't it?
No, that's Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe.
I got news for you.
Pretty close.
Leslie Town Hope is Bob Hope.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but you still earned a 30-point bonus for Mount Holyoke. And it's now March time around the Quiz Bowl. Sousa marches, to be exact. We're going to play 3 famous Sousa marches, and all you've got to do is give me the title of each for 10 points apiece. First...
Washington Post?
No.
Hail to the Chief?
No. Time is called El Capitan. El Capitan. All right, now what's the name of this famous Sousa march?
Hail to the Chief?
That Hail to the Chief?
Washington Post March.
No.
What else did we say before?
Semper Fidelis. Semper Fidelis. All right, what's the name of this one?
Oh, Stars and Stripes Forever.
That's right, for 10 points. Okay, here we go. What's scoring time, Rod?
We have 6.5 minutes to go. Notre Dame has 130 points. Mount Holyoke has 140 points.
Boy, this is close. Here's a 30-point bonus coming up. A 30-point bonus in the offing. Here's a toss-up. For 10 points, complete the following poetic sentence by Longfellow. And the night shall be filled... Mount Holyoke.
Alan Richards.
And as silently as the end.
Can you take it, Notre Dame? I'll penalize you 5 points. Penalizing you 5 points, Mount Holyoke. I repeat it all for Notre Dame. 10 points. Complete the following poetic sentence by Longfellow. And the night shall be filled with music, and the cares that infest the day
shall fold their tents like the Arabs and as silently steal away.
Right to the word for 10 points. Here's your 30-point bonus, Notre Dame. Now, listen carefully. If I ask you to pay careful attention to the 16th and 17th letters of the Roman alphabet, you would understand, I'm sure, that I meant mind your P's and Q's. You got it? You would after a while, I mean. Okay. Now, for 10 points apiece, what do I mean to say in each of the following cases? Do not interrogate me, I shall not prevaricate.
Ask me no questions and I'll tell you no lies.
Right, for 10 points. It is impossible to extract a certain kind of fluid from the
thick... Can't get blood from a... excuse me.
Go ahead. What you
Can't
say?
get blood from a stone.
No, let me finish it. It is impossible to extract a certain kind of fluid from the thick edible root of a biennial herb.
A turnip. Turnip.
Right, can't get blood from a turnip. All right. Fabricate fodder during the time that the luminous celestial body emits rays of light.
Could you repeat?
Make hay when the sun shines.
That's right, for 10 points. Scoring time now, Roger.
Right now, Alan, we have 5 minutes to go. Notre Dame has 170. Mount Holyoke has 135.
Coming up is a 20-point bonus that you might turn into a 40-pointer. Here's the toss-up. For 10 points, what phrase originated as a typing exercise might serve Notre Dame?
Jim Cantrell.
Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country.
Penalize you 5 points. Repeat the question for Holyoke. You did not quote it word for word. For 10 points, what phrase originated as a typing exercise might serve equally well as a slogan for either the Democratic or Republican parties?
Betsy Waters.
Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their party.
Now, wait a minute.
The party.
Hold it.
Their party.
Precision. All right, on the article, you let it go. All right, you'll get accepted for 10 points. Here's your 20-point bonus. It could turn into a 40-pointer, Mount Holyoke. The state of Tennessee gave the United States 3 19th century presidents. We'll give you 20 points if you can name 2 of these 3 presidents, and you'll earn 40 points if you can name all 3. But listen, I want you to discuss your answers out loud and then decide quickly on the 3 you're to give me, because I'll accept only 3.
Well, one of them was Jackson.
Work as a team.
Jackson.
Was it Polk?
I got him Polk.
All right, now, are you ready? Give me your 3, please.
One was Jackson.
Yes.
One was We'll say Polk.
That's right for 20
And
points.
the other was 19th century, you said?
Yes.
The other was it Buchanan?
No, it was Johnson, but you got 20 points out of it. Jackson, Johnson, and Polk. All right, scoring time now, Roger.
It is now 165 apiece, a tie at this moment.
A tie? Here we go with a 20-point bonus coming. How much to go?
2.5 minutes to go.
All right, 2 minutes to go. Okay, here we go. For 10 points, what famous fictional terrapin defended the different branches of arithmetic as ambition, distraction, uglification, and derision? Mount Holyoke.
Betsy Wooders.
The Mock Turtle in Alice in Wonderland?
Right, for 10 points. Okay, here we go. Now, Mount Holyoke, you know the next holiday that we all have to look forward to is Easter. This year, Easter falls on April 10th. For 20 points, tell us how the date of Easter is set for any one year.
40 days from the date of Lent.
No, it isn't. It is I'll tell you. It is the first Sunday after the full moon in, after the vernal equinox.
That's right, for 20 points. The first Sunday that falls after the first full moon in the vernal equinox. Okay, here we go with a 20-point bonus in the offing. Here's your toss-up. A city in Alabama, a city in Georgia, and a city in Illinois all have the same name. This name is also the last name of a famous American naval hero. Mount Holyoke.
Ellen Richards.
Farragut.
Okay, oh, wait. Penalize him 5 points. I'll repeat the question for Notre Dame. A city in Alabama, a city in Georgia, and a city in Illinois all have the same name. This name is also the last name of a famous American naval hero. For 10 points, what's the name?
Decatur.
Decatur, right, for 10 points. Here you go with a 20-point bonus for Notre Dame. It's a 2-part quick bonus on current events for 10 points apiece. I want you to tell me the news story behind these names. First of all, Hayes Allen Jenkins. The news story behind his name. Who is he? What did he do? He won this men's world championship in figure skating for the 3rd time in a row at Vienna recently. All right. The news story behind this name, Kipak Svirnot. You know it? He's the 65-pound, snuffling, low-legged best of the show at the Westminster Kennel Club show. Scoring time, Roger.
Alan, we don't have any time. There's the whistle. We were watching the clock as we went along, and the game is over for this week. The final score on the College Quiz Bowl is, tonight, 175 points for the University of Notre Dame and 190 points for the winner, Mount Holyoke College. To each member of the Notre Dame team, it's our pleasure to award an attractive and dependable Whitnor wristwatch, a distinguished member of the Longines Whitnor family of fine watches. Since 1866, makers of watches of the highest character. For fielding the winning team tonight, Mount Holyoke College will receive a $500 gift from Good Housekeeping magazine to be administered by the college. And these varsity scholars from Mount Holyoke will return next week to compete in the new All-American Quiz game with the varsity scholars of Colgate University in Hamilton, New York. Here once again, your master of the quiz, Alan Ludden.
Well, I want to congratulate Mount Holyoke, and I want to say to you 4 men from Notre Dame, you gave those girls a tough fight, and you could have beat by 5 points for that last bonus. Chuck, Doherty, Francis Newman, Pat DePasquale, and Jim Cantrell, you were great, and I'm sure Notre Dame's proud of you. We all are. Now, next week, Mount Holyoke meets, and the following weeks we're going to have here varsity scholars from many other outstanding colleges and universities throughout the United States. So, won't you be with us again next week and every week here for an exciting quiz game in the College Quiz Bowl. This is Alan Ludden saying now, so long, everybody.
Referees tonight were Charles Chan of station WMAQ in Chicago for Notre Dame and Jim Strong of WTIC in Hartford for Mount Holyoke. Listen to the transcribed College Quiz Bowl next week when Mount Holyoke meets Colgate University and they come up against this question.
What, according to Benjamin Franklin, are the only 2 things in this world that are sure?
Well, what do you think the answer is? Which team do you think will win? Tune in next week for the answers to both of these questions. And join us for all the other rebroadcasts of the most exciting games in this famous series. College Quiz Bowl is a transcribed NBC Radio Network presentation, originated and produced by John Moses and Don Reed. Written by Nancy Phobes and directed by Ken McGregor. This is Roger Tuttle speaking.
Monitor takes you everywhere each weekend on NBC Radio.
Presents Break the Bank. And now with $4,120 in tonight's bank, here is your quizmaster, Bert Park.
Hi, friends. Hello, Grand Rapids. Cars in Holyoke, Philadelphia. Tell me, does anyone want to break the bank?
Yes, indeed they do, Bert.
Well, hiya, Bud. Friends, let's welcome our host, Bud Collier, right here.
Well, Bert, here tonight to try to break the bank is our holdover contestant from last week, Miss Marnell Purvis of 3706 81st Street, Jackson Heights, New York.
All right, hello there. How are you? You know, on one card here it says Marvel, and the other says Marnell. Now, which is right?
Marvel.
Marvel, how did you happen to get such a lovely and interesting name?
Because my mother didn't want me to have a nickname.
So she said Marvel, and she knew that would stop them right there. It's a great pleasure to welcome you back.
Say, may I get a word in, Bert?
Sure, Bud. Make it fast.
Okay, I will. I just want to remind our listeners that Break the Bank, radio's most exciting quiz show, is brought to you by Bristol Myers, makers of those two famous products.
Vitalis, live-action Vitalis, to keep your hair well-groomed, and...
Trouche the beforehand lotion that helps keep busy hands lovely, too.
That's right, Vitalis, Trouche, Break the Bank. Okay, Bert?
All right, now last week you chose the category Book of the Month. So let's continue with our questions about some of the books of the Book of the Month Club and see what you know about them and their famous authors. You've already answered the questions about Sinclair Lewis, Arthur Conan Doyle, Pearl S. Buck, and Edna Ferber. You're now reaching for $200. The next question is for $300, then $500, then the bank question, which starts off tonight at $4,120. Do you feel confident tonight, do you?
Well, I don't know.
What do you do, Marvel? What is your job, by the way?
I'm secretary to the foreign editor of Newsweek magazine.
Boy, you picked the right category. All right, we're talking about Book of the Month. You're at 100, reaching for 200. No mistakes. Book of the Month readers in 1928 got a book called Hunger Fighters, a very enlightening piece of reading. Now, can you give me the author of Hunger Fighters? He also wrote the famous Microbe Hunters.
Paul de Krupp.
Paul de Krupp. You're now up to $200. You're really a marvel so far, and believe me, you're reaching for $300, $4,120 in that Vitalis and Trouche bank. Have you spent the money already?
Twice.
Twice? You mean you spent $8,240?
Bought 2 cars.
You did. One car is not enough. All right, now, Marvel, here we go. In 1931, a selection was Vicky Baum's Grand Hotel. The story is built around a pathetic character who has but a short time to live and is taking a last fling at the Grand Hotel. Now, can you name that character as he appears in the book?
I wish I could.
Would you like to try it? Did you remember reading the book, Grand Hotel?
I've read it, but a long time ago.
You can't think of the name of that character? He happens to be called Kringeline. Do you remember it now?
I remember it now, yes.
Well, Marvel, it's only one mistake now. You are back. Herb, move your head, please. You're now back to $100. You're reaching for $200. Here we go. While we're on the subject of books, let's take a moment to talk about our country's schools. The high birth rate during and since the war is resulting in a crowding problem which threatens to throw our school system into a crisis. Your community should start now to cooperate with its local groups to improve educational conditions. Another factor is the need for new teachers. Hundreds and thousands of them. So young people graduating high school and college should seriously consider making teaching their profession. Remember, better schools make better communities. Good citizens everywhere are helping. I'm sure you agree with that, don't you, Marvel?
I used to be a teacher.
Oh, then that's right up your alley. All right, $100 reaching for $200 in Edna Ferber's immortal Showboat, a 1926 Book of the Month selection. Captain Andy, a river pilot on the Mississippi, buys a showboat. They travel the length of the river performing for enthusiastic audiences. Can you give me the name of the showboat which played such a vital role in the story of the same name, Showboat? What was the name of the showboat?
Does that have something to do with the Mississippi?
Beg pardon? No, honey, I don't think so. I'll give you 5 more seconds. What do you say?
I can't remember.
No idea? It was called The Cotton Blossom. But it's been a great pleasure to welcome you here, Miss Marvel Purvis of Jackson Heights, New York. And our sponsors, Vitalis and Trouche, present you with $100. Go over to Janice, our same color, and collect. Thank you.
Say, Hey, Jan, explain yourself. What do you mean you lead a double life?
Well, most women lead double lives, Bud. At least our hands do. We keep a shining, clean house.
Which I suppose means lots of soap and water chores. Not good for hands.
Mm-mm. And then the glamour side of living. Parties, dancing, entertaining.
But what about those hands?
Bud, did you forget about Trouchet?
I was leading you on. Everybody should know about Trouchet, the beforehand lotion. Trouchet helps keep hands that work lovely for play.
Trouchet is an entirely different idea in hand care. A lotion so soothing and oil-rich, we use it beforehand to ward off chapping, drying, soap and water damage, even when we use hot, soapy water.
And Trouchet leads a double life, too. You use Trouchet not only beforehand, but anytime, whenever you need a soothing lotion.
So one bottle of Trouchet in the kitchen, another on your dressing table is a good idea, girls.
For keeping busy hands lovely, too, begin today to use Trouchet, the beforehand lotion. Well, Bert, before we meet our next contestants, I want to say to you, boy, that you're really getting around in the publications these days.
What?
Folks, I think you ought to know that tomorrow comes out a little publication known as Quick Magazine, with a picture of our guy here and a big story about Break the Bank. So get it. If you haven't seen enough of them here, you can have it right there with you. Take it home tomorrow. Okay, Bert, for a bank that's now worth $4,220, I'd like you to meet our next contestants coming up here right now. It's Ida LeBlanc of Madison, Maine, and Joe McKinney of Corning, New York. Say hello to Bert.
Hello, Ida.
How do you do?
I must tell the folks at home that both of these wonderful young people are wearing Navy uniforms. What is your rank, please?
I'm a Teleman First, too.
You who?
Teleman First.
You're a Teleman First? Well, I'll tell them anything you want, Bert. How about you, fella? What's your rank?
I'm a Teleman First Class, too.
I see. Well, how did you two happen to meet, huh?
Well, we work in the same office together.
You were telling a man and she was telling a woman. I see. There we are. All right. It's a great pleasure to welcome you. We're going to talk about songs of romance. Incidentally, you're not married?
That's right.
You're getting married, are you?
That's right.
I understand you told me before. When are you getting married?
In October, I believe.
You don't object?
Not at all.
Okay, all right. Now, you know, for years, songwriters have been dishing out that certain something called love and romance. So let's see what you know about these romantic songs. For $10, here's a song of romance by that new heartthrob, Enzio Pinza. I'll try to make like him. You give me the title. La la ti da ti da. That's right. Some enchanted evening. Now, while I'm in a singing mood, here's another song of love and romance. This can't be because I feel so well. What's the word I left out?
This can't be love.
This can't be love. That's it. Casanova Van Steeden and the Music Union's gift to the women over here will give with a romantic tune from the pen of Stephen Foster. You listen and name it. Boy, they're getting up fast tonight. That's it. $50, you're reaching for $100, and there's $4,220 in our Vitalis and Trouchet Bank. How about if you win that Teleman First Class, huh?
Wonderful.
Yeah, what do you do with the money?
I'm planning on getting married, too.
Oh, I see. You're going to have a little dowry to go with it. That's fine. How about you? Come in very handy, wouldn't it?
That's right.
Good. Where's your fiancée tonight?
She's home.
Where? Where's home?
Upstate New York.
Upstate New York? What's her name?
Dune McCarty.
Who?
McCarty.
You can't... What's her first name?
Julia.
You can't say hello to her. You know that? But if you could say hello, what would you say?
I'd say hello.
All right. Hello, Julia. Now, here we go. You're at $50. You're reaching for $100. Now, here's a song of romance that'll always linger. Listen and give me the title. Cole Porter gave us this one. Peter? They get in on the first note, for goodness sake. All right. That's now $100. You're reaching for $200, and we are talking to Teleman Ida LeBlanc and Teleman Joe McKinney. That's a new one. That rating is a new one on me. How do you spell that again? T-E-L-L?
T-E-L-E-M-A-N. T-E-L-E-M-A-N.
Oh, I see. Teleman. That has to do with telegraphy and so forth.
That's right.
Okay, all right. Now we're at 100, reached for 200. You made no mistakes. Here's a popular love song that was featured in Billy Rose's musical hit, Jumbo. Just think of a boy with a Vitalis hair comb and a girl with hands of Trouchet loveliness, and you have it. Will you play it, Peter? Now think about this one. Oh, that's a beautiful one, too. Remember, it's very familiar, isn't it? All right, 5 more seconds to go. Come on, boy. Miss LeBlanc?
I'm afraid not.
You don't know?
No.
Beg pardon?
You're the one?
No, well, you're the one, too, but it's called My Romance.
What?
Okay, one mistake. They're back to $50, reached again for $100 with $4,220 in the bank. Honey.
Yes.
You want to get married soon? Let's get that money. Let's go. All right, now, here it goes. By the light
Of the silvery moon.
Now, wait a minute. I'm not through yet. That's not the question, but just let me give a little bit of it, all right? By the light of the silvery moon, I want to spoon. To my honey I'll croon love's tune. Now, many a barbershop quartet has sung this romantic ditty. The music to this ever-popular song of romance was written by a man who not only had talent for music, but also a talent for discovery of stars. Who was he? Who wrote By the Light of the Silvery Moon? He discovered stars. He's written music. A very famous name in show business.
George Jessel.
Who?
George Jessel.
No, Gus Edwards is the man we're talking about. Well, that's two mistakes, I'm afraid. By Talents and True Shake, take great pleasure in awarding you and your lovely partner $50. Good luck to both of you. Go over to Janice, our painkiller, and goodbye.
That's the call for the Wishbowl, friends. Now, Bert, here are tonight's Wishbowl winners, Mr. and Mrs. R.E. Morrison of 823 Plaza Serena, Ontario, California.
Oh, come on over here. Hi. Well, now, Mr. and Mrs. Richard Morrison, it's a great pleasure to welcome you. You're from Ontario, California.
Hi.
Gee, you've come a long way, haven't you?
I say we did.
Boy, I'm telling you. Tell me, just where? Is that near? Is it in the northern part of California?
No, it's 30 miles this side of Los Angeles.
20 miles this
30.
side? Oh, 30 miles. I see. What do you do, Mr.
I'm a
Morrison?
wood butcher.
Beg pardon?
Wood butcher.
Wood butcher? Are you really?
Yeah, sir.
Well, tell me, what is a wood butcher?
I think it's a carpenter.
I tell you, we're having fun tonight. And Ms. Morrison, your first visit to New York?
Right.
It's fun, isn't it?
Lovely.
Isn't that something? Come right out of Ontario, California, stand up here in front of all these people with the lights on you and everything. You scared? Huh?
I think so.
Well, about to fall down. All right. Now, in just a moment, we're going to get down to your category, which is the Lou Gehrig story. I understand you know a little bit about baseball, do you?
A little bit.
Well, now we're going to see. Well, now, Mr. Morrison, Mrs. Morrison, incidentally, Bud, will you escort Miss Morrison over there? While you draw 3 cards from the wishbowl to select next week's winners, Bud and I want to tell our listeners how they can get in that wishbowl. Now, if you want a free round trip to New York and an opportunity to break the bank, and if you live in one of the 48 states of the United States or in the District of Columbia, and you're 16 or over, send a postcard giving your name, your address, and your telephone number to Vitalis and Trouchet, Box 100, New York 17, New York.
If you are our Wishbowl winner, you'll stay at the Hotel Statler in New York from Wednesday to Friday, and you'll get $150 spending and expense money in addition to all you earn on the program. And now that's not all. It's pretty wonderful just that far, but here is a big extra for Wishbowl winners in February. You'll get 2 tickets for the Thursday night you're here to see New York's biggest hit show, South Pacific. That's right. Bristol Myers is buying tickets for South Pacific for each Thursday in February through the Damon Runyon Memorial Fund. So you have a big extra reason for sending in your Wishbowl postcard tonight. But now I see Mrs. Morrison has drawn the 3 cards, and we're ready to make that phone call right now.
Now, don't you get behind that fence, Miss Morrison. You come right on up here.
I can't answer.
What's that?
I can't answer any of them.
Well, how come you can't? No, really, why?
I don't know anything about
Well, you can.
sports.
You don't? But that's a good one for you, you think, Mr. Morrison. Well, maybe
That
you
might
can,
be.
Huh?
It might be.
Well, now maybe you lend him a little moral support, huh?
Hold him up.
Yeah. How long you married, Miss Morrison?
36 years.
36 years. You have a family, do you?
I do.
How many?
3,
Got any grandchildren?
6,
6 grandchildren? Gee, that's wonderful. Have you always lived in Ontario, California?
for 30 years.
Gee whiz. Ever been to New York?
Not before.
How did New York impress you when you got here the first time? You enjoy it? I mean, was it
Well, I
as big
enjoy
as you thought it was going to be?
Larger.
Well, these buildings are high. These buildings are high. You can't see the top of the thing.
You know, that's right. Of course, it's been a little foggy today, you know. All right, let's see how you do. Now, one of the greatest immortals of baseball was the Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig. From the time he left college to join the Yanks to the time he hung up his glove for good, he made many records that still stand. We're going to talk about Lou. Now, did Lou Gehrig play for any major league team other than the New York Yankees during his entire major league career? Would you?
No.
No, sir, he did not. That's it. Now, Miss Morrison, Marsden, that puts you at $10. You're reaching for 20. You made no mistakes. You're doing fine now. Lou started attracting attention. The fact that he had the makings of a great ball player while playing for New York College. What college was that? Columbia. You got it. That's it. You're at $20. He's doing fine, isn't he, Miss Marsden?
Fine.
Huh?
So good.
He's doing so good. That's right. Now, the great Lou Gehrig earned the title the Iron Horse because he holds the record for playing in the most consecutive major league games. This record still stands and should stand for a long time to come. Now, can you tell me, was that 3,130 games, 2,130 games, or 4,130 games? 2,100. No coaching from the audience. All right, sir. Now you're on your own. You're at $50. You're reaching for 100, Miss Marsden, our wishful winners. Now, Lou Gehrig, just a rookie at the time, succeeded the great first baseman for the regular spot on the team. Now, whom did Gehrig succeed at the first base on the Yankees? That's a pip of a question.
I don't know that.
Yes, sir, but that's a pip of a question.
Pip?
Pip! Is it? Must have been the fella, sure. All right, now come on up here, Miss Marsden. You having fun? Huh?
About to fade.
About to fade. Oh, what's that? Hello, what? We're getting bells all over the place. I'm coming out. Let's use McLaughlin first. Is that the phone? Is that the phone? All right, here's our wishful number. You remember you picked the cards? The call has been put through. Let's find out now whose card you picked. Hello? Who's our winner? Mr. Julius W. Bailey. 313 Linwood Avenue, East Point, Georgia. Well, all right, let me talk to Mr. Bailey. Hello, Mr. Bailey. Well, how are you? This Bird Park's on Break the Bank. Well, East Point, that's right outside of Atlanta, isn't it? Well, good. Now, Mr. Bailey, you've been selected as our Wishbowl winner. Your card has just been picked from the Wishbowl. Can you make it up to New York next Wednesday for our show? Good. Who's coming with you? Huh? You're bringing your wife. All right, congratulations to you, Mr. Bailey. Of East Point, Georgia, let's give him a hand. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, right now we're talking to Mr. and Mrs. Richard Morrison of Ontario, California, our wishbowl winners. He just answered a pip of a question that brings him now up to $100. He's reaching for $200. Here we go. Now, when Lou started his major league career, he profited by the guidance of a former great manager of the Yanks. He, too, has departed for baseball's Valhalla. Now, who was the manager of the Yanks when Lou Gehrig started for him? Now, no coaching. Let's give Mr. and Mrs. Morrison.
Boudreaux?
Beg pardon?
Lou Boudreaux?
No, sir. It was Miller Huggins who was the manager that time. That's only one mistake, though. You're back now to 50, reaching again for 100. Try this one. Lou Gehrig started his phenomenal streak of 2,130 consecutive games on June 1st, 1925. It was on May 2nd, many years later, that he was forced, through illness, to leave the lineup. Now, can you tell me what year that was? I just want the year.
39?
It was 1939! He's doing fine, you know, Miss Martin.
I
Huh?
hope so.
He's doing fine. Now, you sure you can't answer these questions?
No, I don't know anything about ball games.
Well, maybe you better hold his hand, okay?
Okay.
All right, grab his hand. That's good. All right, now, it's the man who bats in those runs who wins games for his team. Is that right, Miss Martin?
That's right.
Okay, now, Lou Gehrig holds the American League record for the most runs batted in one season. Now, what is that record? In other words, how many runs did he bat in? He holds the record. How many?
In his whole season?
Yes, sir. He holds the record.
Well, that's one I'll have to guess at.
All right. Take a guess at it.
I'll say 2,000.
Oh, my goodness. I tell you what now. Now, wait a minute. Now, let me see. That's right, in one seat. That's a little big. It's 184. I was trying to help you there a little bit.
That's his career.
What? All right. No, not in his career. In one season. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did I say in his career?
That's what
I'm going to give you another question. I'm going to give you another one. Sorry. It was my mistake. I give him another question. All right. Go ahead. You're right. You asked me in his career, and I said yes. I'm going to give you another one. Here we go. Now, to hit a homer with the bases full, that's a ball player's dream, isn't it? Well, Lou Gehrig holds the lifetime record for this prodigious feat, having banged out a Grand Slam homer 23 times in his career. The nearest one to that record is a former National League star who banged out 12 home runs with the bases full. Who was that star? No coaching. The nearest one to that record. Of 23 times in his career, he banged out 12 of them. Who was it?
Is that Steiner?
No, sir. It was Rogers Hornsby who holds that distinction. Mr. Morrison and Mrs. Morrison, it's been a great pleasure to welcome you here. You are entitled to $100 from our Vitalis and Touche bag. Go over to Janice, our paying teller, and collect. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Vitalis. They have handsome, healthy-looking hair, 'cause they give it live-action care.
So be one of those well-groomed guys.
Well-groomed and Vitalis-wise. For live-action care of your scalp and your hair. Get Vitalis.
Yes, sir. Do more than just keep your hair well-groomed. Keep it neater in a natural, healthy-looking way with live-action Vitalis care. Live-action care with Vitalis and the 60-second workout wakes up your scalp. You actually feel the tingling difference. And, brother, she'll see the difference in your hair.
Yes, be one of those well-groomed guys. Well-groomed and Vitalis-wise. For live-action care of your scalp and your hair. Get Vitalis. Yes, get Vitalis.
Well, that bank has grown up there to the sum of $4,370 and coming up holding hands here like mad because they'd like to take that amount home with them, Bert. Our Chief and Mrs. Richard R. Powers of Granville, Ohio.
All right. Super. How do you do, Mr. and Mrs. Powers? Okay, the category is called Gorgeous Gals. I see why you picked that one. Glad to see you both. Now, here we go. You've seen this gorgeous American girl who we're going to talk about in such picture hits as The Three Musketeers and Homecoming. She's come a long way since the days when they used to call her the Sweater Girl. Who are we talking about?
Lana Turner.
Who?
Lana Turner.
Lana Turner, that's right. Good. Now, this gorgeous gal hails from Sweden. She hasn't made a movie in a long time, and maybe it's because she still wants to be alone.
Greta?
Who?
Greta Garbo?
Greta Garbo. Now, the gal I want you to tell me about now is the atomic bombshell from Brazil who wears the bananas and so forth in her head. Who is she?
Carmen
Miranda. Carmen Miranda. Now, Pete and the boys have their hair all slicked down with Vitalis for the gorgeous gal in this next tune. Now, you listen and give me the title. Here it is.
Beautiful doll.
Huh?
That's a great big, beautiful doll.
Great big is not necessary. It's just, oh, you beautiful doll. You got it. Fair enough. That brings you now to $100. You're doing fine, Mr. and Mrs. Richard R. Powers of Granville, Ohio. Now, the boys in the band have another gal they'd like you to tell us about. Listen and give me the title. You know that?
A pretty girl is like a melody.
That's it, sure. Okay, now you're at $200. You're reaching for $300. How long you married, by the way?
6 years.
6 years. You have a family, do you?
One little boy.
Good. What's his name?
Richard.
How old is he?
He's 5.
5 years old. Well, it's wonderful. What brings you to New York now?
Oh, my husband's stationed out here.
Mm-hmm. You brought the whole family with you? You going to settle down here?
Oh, I hope not.
Oh, you want to go?
She wants to go back to Ohio.
Well, I don't blame you. Home is the best place in the world anyway, isn't it? Okay, now on the evening of November 22nd, 1880, the great impresario Tony Pastor stepped up to the gas footlights in his famous theater and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I give you a vision of loveliness and a voice of gold." Now, the lady he presented became a great entertainer who married our ambassador to Spain, Mr. Alexander Moore, in 1912. What was her name? Introduced by Tony Pastor, a very famous name, of course. It was before your time.
Jenny Lind?
No, sir. It was Lillian Russell. All right, that's only one mistake. They're now back to $100. They're reaching for $200. What was the name of the vision of loveliness from Arizona whose beauty surpassed all others at Atlantic City this past season, where she was crowned Miss America of 1949. She recently married a hometown boy named Donald Cook. I want her name as she won the title. In other words, Miss America of 1949. This past season's Miss America. What was her name in real life? She recently was in the papers for having been married to Donald Cook. 5 more seconds to go.
Jean something?
Beg pardon?
Jean something?
It's not Jean. It starts with a J. You want to try again?
Janet.
No, it's Jack. Jack Mercer. Mercer. It's a Mercer's birthday. But it's been a great pleasure to welcome you here, and our sponsors, Vitalis and Trouchet, present you with $100. Go over to Janice, our painkiller, and good luck to you. All right, Bud. Well, that bank is really climbing up there, Bird. Vitalis and Trouchet have $4,470 in the bank right now. And coming up now, I'd like to introduce Mr. and Mrs. Melbourne Smith of Charlestown, Massachusetts.
All right, we're going to move right along with you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Tell me, Mr. Smith, how come you picked a category called bloodthirsty pirates? You don't look very bloodthirsty to me. Come on up here a little closer, huh?
We can try anything.
Huh?
We'll try anything.
Try anything once. All right, we wish you a lot of luck. You've picked that subject. So we're going to introduce you to a crew of the bloodthirstiest buccaneers that ever sailed the 7 seas in real life and story. For $10, in days of old, one of the most fearsome sights for a merchantman to behold was the terrifying flag of a pirateer. Now, what is the traditional emblem of a pirate flag? You know, as you see it on the
cross and bones and skulls.
Yeah, the skull and bones. Okay, that's 10. You reach for 20. Now, if I were a pirate captain and I commanded you to walk the plank, what would you do? What would you do? Huh?
Walk the plank.
And then what would that do? What would happen at the end of the plank?
Go
in the water. You'd go in the water. All right, you jump over. That's a kind of a silly question. Now, you're now at, your $20, you reach for 50. One of the most colorful pirates of the old days was supposed to have buried his treasure right out here in Long Island. Of course, nobody ever found any of it. He was called Captain Who? Now, don't kid around with it. Captain Kidd. Good. All right. Now, you're at 50. You're reaching for 100. Remember the old pirate ditty, yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum? Now, how many men were on the dead man's chest in that old pirate shanty? How many men? He's going over the song. Sing the song for me. Maybe it'll come to you. Yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum. Yes, go ahead. Yo-yo-yo. Who? Hello? 5 seconds more. 50? No, wait a minute. It sounds like 50. What is it? You know. 15. Oh, 15. I'm sorry. 15 men on a dead man's chest. All right, there's one mistake. They're back to 20. What do you say, folks? Would you like to accept your $20 or come back next week to see if you can break the bank? What do you say? Huh?
Come back next week.
Next week.
You come back next week. All right, thank you very, very much for going. What?
Now remember, friends, to get your name in the Break the Bank Radio Wishbowl, send your postcard. No letters, please. Your postcard tonight to Vitalis and Trouchet, Box 100, New York 17, New York. We draw 3 cards each week and make our phone call between 9 and 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to invite the first person reached to appear on Break the Bank the following Wednesday. Next week, our bank opens at $4,470. Break the Bank is brought to you by the makers of Vitalis and Trouchet. To keep your hair well groomed, remember Vitalis. And for softer, lovelier hands, remember, begin today to use Trouchet.
Remember, friends, to send your postcard to Vitalis and Trouchet, Box 100, New York 17, New York. And now let's listen to some exciting news about an important new Bristol-Myers product.
Gesundheit.
Not Gesundheit, Resist-Tab.
Resist-Tab?
Yes, lady. To stop colds fast, often in one day, rely on Resist-Tab. Resist-Tab is Bristol-Myers' clinic-proven new antihistamine tablet. And in just 60 days, Bristol-Myers has sold 61 million of them. You see, Resist-Tab is the identical antihistamine formula praised by Reader's Digest. Remember, doctors found that when taken promptly, it stops colds in an average of 1 day. To stop colds fast, often in 1 day, rely on Resist-Tab.
And now this is Bert Park saying goodnight for Bud Collier, Peter Van Steeden, and myself till next week. Friends, we invite you to join us next Wednesday when we'll have comedian Henry Morgan as our special guest, and we'll draw another wishful winner who may be you. Now stay tuned for Mr. District Attorney, which follows immediately. Good night.
You're tuned for the stars on NBC.
Is it animal or mineral?
Is it a living American man?
Is it a musical instrument?
Is it as big as the river?
Does it rhyme with Wiener Schnitzel?
Yes, All America is playing 20 questions. In cooperation with the Puzzle and Game section of Pageant Magazine, Mutual presents 20 Questions. And here's Bill Slater.
Thank you, Bob. Hello, everyone, and welcome to 20 Questions. Here's how you can play it along with us. You listeners have sent in subjects our questioners will try to discover in 20 questions or fewer. If your subject is used, you win a year's subscription to Pageant Magazine free. And if your subject can't be named within 20 questions, you get Pageant free the rest of your life, plus a grand surprise prize. Our mystery voice offstage in a soundproof booth will tip you people at home on what the subject is, while our studio guests here will know from a board that they alone can see. In other words, everybody will be in on the secret except our 5 eager questioners. Now, this evening, our questioners are Fred Vandeventer, the well-known newscaster, Florence Renard, musician and teacher, Bobby McGuire, amazing 14-year-old schoolboy, Herb Palazzi, radio and motion picture producer, and our special guest tonight is the famous American conductor who is heard on many Mutual shows, Mr. Sylvan Levin. Very glad to have you here, Mr. Levin. Are you all set to play 20 questions with us?
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
fine. The conductor is ready, and I'm ready because I have a subject that's been sent in here by Paula Singer, whose home is in northeast Atlanta, Georgia, and our first subject tonight is animal.
This is the mystery voice Bill told you about. I'm telling you that the subject is Edgar Allan Poe's Raven.
Now the mystery voice has tipped you folks at home as to what it is. Our studio audience knows. And here go our questioners after it. Vandeventer?
Is it a living American man?
No, it's not a living American man. Tough luck. Miss Renard?
Is it a man?
Not a man. Vandeventer?
Is it a human being?
Not a human being, even. Mr. Palazzi?
Well, is it a fictional animal?
It's a fictional animal. It's fictional, and it's animal.
Well, I got 2 for 1.
Almost you did at that. Vandeventer?
Is it 4-footed?
No. No. At least I never saw one with 4 feet. I don't think they got 4 feet. Bobby?
Is it a whole animal?
Yes, it's all of what it is, not just a part of it. Mr. Palazzi?
Is it in children's literature?
No. No, not particularly. Vandeventer?
Is it a bird?
It's a bird. Vandeventer?
Was it written about in American literature?
Yes.
Was it the raven?
It was Poe's raven. Well, you gave me the bird that time. I thought I was going to get you. Subject number 2 is not quite so easy. It was thought up by Mrs. Darrell Williams, whose home was in Neptune City in the state of New Jersey. We're sending her a year's subscription to Pageant because we're using it. And this subject is neither animal, nor vegetable, nor mineral.
The panel may get a hint from the calendar for this. It's spring fever.
This is not too hard to get, but I think it's going to be hard for you to get it. All right, here we go. Mr. Palazzi?
Is it a ghost of some kind?
No, it's no ghost. Bobby?
Is this part of a title or a saying?
No, it's not part of a title or a saying. Not part of a very familiar saying, at least. It's something that we say a lot, but it's not in the part of a very familiar saying.
Is this recognizable by any of the 5 senses?
Yes, you can tell when it's around. Bobby?
Does it express any human emotion?
Almost the contrary, Bobby. Mr. Palazzi?
Would you recognize it if a skunk were around?
I don't know about the things that happen to skunks, but I don't think this happens to skunks. I'm not sure. Vandeventer?
Can you see it?
No, you can't see it. You see the results of it sometimes, but you can't see it. Miss Renard?
Can you hear it?
Not usually. Vandeventer?
Is it a force of nature?
It's alleged to be, but it's not really. I don't think it is at all. It's a rather timely thing, as a matter of fact. Mr. Palazzi?
Could you detect it with a mirror?
You might be able to. Vandeventer?
Do lovers enjoy it?
I personally don't think lovers ever get it. So, Miss Renard?
Is it something disagreeable?
I think it's fairly disagreeable. I believe some people enjoy it, though, but it's generally regarded as disagreeable. Bobby?
Would you say to a person if you wanted to, well, say, insult him or something like that?
You might use it in insulting a person. That's not quite clear to me. You might.
This is clear to me.
How many questions so far? That's 12. We have 8 to go. Vanderbilt?
Does it have anything to do with doctors?
No. And doctors can't do much about it, I'm told. Vanderbilt?
This is to amplify my other question. Is this a disease or an ailment of the human body of any kind?
Is that what you meant when you asked if it has something to do with doctors?
Yes.
I'm only going to charge you one question and say yes.
Is it a... Go ahead, Bob.
Bobby?
Spring fever.
Spring fever? Well,
yes,
there goes my wager of the evening. I
wonderful.
thought sure you'd miss that one. That's very good going
Yeah.
on. Bobby's pretty smart, isn't he, Mr. Palazzi?
I'll say. We're studying together, you know.
Oh, you and Bobby are.
He's studying to be a genius, and I'm studying to be a moron.
If I may say so, I think you're both succeeding. Here is subject number 3, thought up by Joseph Clifford, whose home is in Stevenson in the state of Connecticut. And we're going to let the people at home play this right along with us. In other words, we're not going to tip them off by the mystery voice. Let's see if you people at home can get it as quick as our questioners here can. This subject is animal. All right? The studio audience knows what it is, but nobody else. Now let's see how fast we can get it. Miss Renard?
Is it real?
Yes. Bobby?
Is it a man?
Yes. Miss Palazzi?
Have I ever met him?
I doubt it very much. Miss Renard?
Is he living?
No. Vandervenny?
Was he an American?
No, he was not. Miss Renard?
Was he a European?
Yes, he was European. Vandervenny?
Was he English? Let me change that. Did he come from the British Isles?
He came from the British Isles. Miss Renard?
Was he a military figure?
No. Mr. Blake?
Was he in the entertainment world?
No. Bobby?
Was he Scotch?
He was Scotch, Bobby. Vandervenner?
Was he a poet?
No, he was not. Bobby again.
Was he a bandit?
No. Now, let's see how many questions that is up to here. That's 12. We have 8 to go. Mr. Levin?
Was he a writer of any kind, of anything?
Not primarily known as a writer. No. He wrote a little bit, but I doubt if you ever read anything he wrote. Not primarily known as a writer, Mr. Levin. Vandervenner?
Was he a scientist?
In the strictest sense of the word, no. No. Not a laboratory scientist or anything like that. Bobby?
Was he an explorer?
Yes, Bobby, he was. That's question number 15. We have 5 to go. He was an explorer, and he was from Scotland. Those things have been established, Mr. Palazzi.
Were the first 2 letters of his name Mac?
No, I'm sorry, they were not. Vandervenning?
Did he exist during or following the time of Queen Elizabeth?
Following that time. And to go back to amplify Bobby's questions, whether he was an explorer, he was an explorer, but that was not the whole of his professional preoccupation. It's a pretty big word. Bobby?
Was he also a military leader or a naval leader?
No. A little sorry to see you waste that question. I think I answered that once before.
Yes.
There are only 2 questions left to get this very well-known person. Now, that is really a sight, those 5 faces there looking at me. 5 maps of puzzlement.
Nice, quiet place to spend a vacation.
Yes, it is. All right, now let's sort of concentrate, see if we can get this. Vandervenner?
Did his explorations take place in Africa?
Yes, they did, and there's only 1 question left. You get it, Vandervenner.
Livingston.
Dr. Livingston. Well, it almost took you people as long to get Dr. Livingston as it took Stanley to find him, as a matter of fact. You didn't do so well on that, Mr. Palazzi.
No, I'm not as sharp as Bobby here.
No.
He and I, you know, did I tell you we're studying geography together?
You and Bobby studying geography, for land's sake. Go ahead.
You know what our mark was last month?
What was that?
You'll be surprised. 98. He got 90, I got 8. True.
All right, let's move to subject number 4, which Miss Doris Anderson of Waltham, Massachusetts, thought up. And because we're using it, she gets pageant free for a year. This subject is animal.
I'm speaking from off stage again, just to you of the radio audience. Bill's subject is Peter Pumpkin Eater.
All right, let's get this animal. A lot of people sent this one in, so we used the one with the earliest postmark. Here we go. Vanderbilt?
Is it a human being?
Yes. Miss Renard?
Is he an American?
No.
Is he a fictional character?
Yes.
Was he associated with 40 Thieves?
No. You babbled out on me a little quick there, Mr. Palazzi. Miss Renard?
Was he an American fiction?
No. No, that's 5 questions. Bobby?
European?
Fiction. This particular fiction had no nationality. Miss Renard?
Was it in children's fairy tales or something of that nature?
It was in children's literature, yes.
Was it in fairy tales, I asked you?
You want to make that all one question?
Yes, sir.
It was not in children's fairy tales. I think you euchred something out of me there, Miss Renard, but I'm not sure. Wait till I go back and examine myself.
But you evaded my question.
Oh, well, I have it now.
Was
As a matter of fact, I think you got something on me then, Miss Renard. You made me admit it was in children's literature, and then you shoved that fairy tale thing. However, I bow to a sharp woman any day. Bobby?
Was it in a nursery rhyme?
It was in a nursery rhyme, Bobby.
Is his name preceded by the word little?
No. We'll have to jack you up now, won't we? Mr. Palazzi?
Well, did he get great pleasure climbing a beanstalk?
Have to jack you up, too.
I
Bobby?
thought you were throwing it.
Did he like any kind of meat?
Not particularly.
It wasn't Jack Sprat.
Mr. Levin?
Oh, it could be Jack Horner.
No, it wasn't Jack Horner. You've had this guy eating everything.
Well, you've got Jack all the way around the line.
That's right. Vanderbilt?
Was it established that it was a boy or a man? I didn't remember that was established.
Yes, you got that out of me. It's a man in a nursery.
Was he a member of royalty?
No, he wasn't.
Thinking of King Cole.
14. Wasn't King Cole. Bobby?
Was his first name Jack?
Oh, no. Miss Renard?
Was he a rather foolish, dumb person?
Well, from what he did, I don't think he was so dumb. No, he wasn't. He wasn't a dumb person, Bobby.
Was he in the nursery rhyme? Did he get hurt or was he killed or anything like that?
No. In fact, it came out fairly well in the nursery rhyme. We have 3 questions left. Miss Renard?
Is his name given in the nursery rhyme?
Oh, yes.
And he's called by name.
Oh, yes.
That's not another question.
No, I'm only going to charge you 1 on that, Miss Renard. 2 questions left to get this nursery rhyme character. Now they are really working. Some of them are scratching their heads. Some of them are looking up at the lights. Mr. Palazzi is standing over here, moping his fevered brow, and Mr. Vanderbilt sleeping.
Moping is right. May I review again, please?
Oh, surely.
Was it established that he was a man, as distinguished from a boy? That was established?
Yes, I gave away his sex. It's male.
But I mean a man, as distinguished from a boy.
Oh, no, I don't think anybody asked that. And it isn't germane, particularly. Miss Renard?
Then he could be a boy. Now, that's not another question.
No. I said he was a man.
We got that straight now.
Yes. Oh, sure. Miss Renard and I getting things straight tonight. Well, we have 2 questions to go here. Let's get after this person. Nursery rhyme, man. Vanderbilt?
No,
well, you can cut the tenseness with a knife here, but the clock ticks on. Tempest is fugiting on us, my friends. Bobby?
Did he end up with anything that is valuable or anything like that? I mean, did he?
In the first verse, I think he ended up with something that's very valuable. Yes? Yeah.
How many questions do we have left?
1 question we have left, Mr. Levin. Going to try it, Bobby?
Yeah, is it Tom the Piper's son?
No, I'm awfully sorry. It was Peter Pumpkin Eater. Had a wife and couldn't keep her. Put her in a pumpkin shell, and there he kept her very, very well, which I think is a lovely sign and story of domestic felicity. First, I'd like to award to Miss Doris Anderson, who thought up this one that stumped our questioners, her special surprise prize. In addition to getting pageant for the rest of her life, she is going to receive a 1946 table model radio. What have we got on our minds, Mr. Vandervenner?
Well, I was just thinking it's only been a couple of weeks that Mr. Palazzi got Peter Punkin-Eater, only it was the wrong Peter.
Yeah, we were looking after another Peter that time. Who was that?
Oh, that was the Peter Piper picked a peck of pickle peppers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You are an appeaser, aren't you, Mr. Vandervenner? Let's move on to subject number 5, which was thought up by J. Leroy Stoneburner, whose home is in Rock Island, Illinois. This subject is mineral.
The panel has 20 chances to guess the boiler of Robert Fulton's steamboat.
Now, this one's fairly difficult to get. I thought the last one was pretty easy.
Yeah, it was easy.
All right, here we go. It's a very hot question. Vandervenner?
Is this a class question?
No, this is a very specific subject we're after. Miss Renard?
Is this mineral subject manufactured?
Yes. Mr. Palazzi?
Does it belong to a famous or a particular person? Is it known for the person who...
It's known for the person to whom it belongs. That's 3 questions. Vandervenner?
Is that person an American?
That person an American, yes. Bobby?
Is he living?
No. Miss Renard?
Is this object useful rather than ornamental?
Oh, it's not at all ornamental and very, very useful. Quite useful. One of the few things that antique-seeking housewives have not made ornamental, Miss Renard. Vandervenner?
Does this have anything to do with the government?
No.
The person I'm talking about.
No.
Did he have anything to do with it?
No, not at all. Mr. Palazzi?
Is it about the size of something I'd throw at an umpire?
You'd have to be a whole lot bigger man than you are to throw this at any umpire.
I only got some idea of the size.
Yes, much bigger than that. Vandervenner?
Was it colonial?
No, it was not colonial. So, in the period shortly after that. Bobby?
Was this used as a weapon or something for
No,
fighting?
this was not used as a weapon. Miss Renard?
Was it moved around or did it stay in one place?
No, it was mobile, moved around. Bobby?
Did it move around of its own accord?
What'd you say?
Did it move around under its own power?
Glad there's nobody here to describe my face. It moved around. Yes. I think I have to say yes to your question, Bob.
Its own power?
Yes. I don't want to make you think it was a mechanism with gears and stuff in it. It wasn't.
Was it a means of transportation?
Was this thing a means of transportation?
Yes.
I have to say yes to that.
On water or on land?
I have to be in the yes or no category, Mr. Levin, but that's easy.
Am I asking 2 questions?
No,
Is that what's wrong?
on water.
On water.
Bobby?
Oh, wait a minute. You said this was not fictional.
Vandervenner?
Was it a boat of some sort?
This thing itself was not a boat. That's 15 questions. We have 5 to go, Mr.
Was it a barrel?
Sir?
Was it a barrel?
Oh, no. You could...
Was it part of a boat?
It was part of a boat, Miss Renard.
Was it part of a very famous boat?
That's another question.
I know it.
That's right. We have 2 questions left. Miss Renard? Mr. Palazzi?
Was it a part of the Monitor or the Merrimack?
No, it was not a part of that boat. This is a part of another famous boat, and there is 1 question left. Want to try it, Mr. Levin?
I'll try for the Constitution. Part of the Constitution.
I'm sorry, that's 20 questions. What were you going to try, Miss Renard?
I was going to say the Ironsides of the Constitution, so that would be wrong, too.
That would have been wrong, too. You'd have all been on board ship without a destination. Well, Mr. J. Leroy Stoneburner of Rock Island, Illinois, wins a grand surprise prize because the subject was the boiler of Robert Fulton's steamboat. It's a fairly tough one. And in addition to Pageant Magazine free for the rest of his life, Mr. Stoneburner is going to get a 1946 model portable typewriter. Congratulations to you.
I think he ought to send us a Stoneburner.
I know it. Mr. Stoneburner got the boiler on you. Now, here's our number 6 subject. Mrs. Clifton S. Dunn, whose home is in Dallas, Texas, thought this one up. And this one is not so hard to get, I'm sure. It's vegetable.
This is the mystery voice once more with the subject rolling pin.
All right, here we go after this one. Who wants to try it first? Mr. Palazzi?
Well, would I give it to my wife?
Not very likely.
She give it to me.
Is that question number 2?
Number 2.
I say yes.
Oh. Gotta get lucky once in your
Bobby?
life.
There's an article of wearing apparel.
No, you can't wear this. Miss Bernard?
Is it raspberries?
Not in the form of raspberries, no.
Well, you said his wife would give it to him, so I just wanted
Oh, I don't know. We must check into the home life of the Palazes. Mr. Vandervenner?
Is it edible?
No, you can't eat this. Vandervenner?
Is it made of wood?
It's made of wood. Ordinarily. Frankly, always. Bobby?
Is it a class question?
It's a class question. It's.
Would you find it in an average kitchen?
Yeah, I think you would.
Rolling
Mr.
pin.
Levin? Rolling pins, you say, Bobby? All right, now I will ask you, Mr. Palazzi, would your wife give it to you?
She has.
I don't know if it's done much good. I don't know that you're doing quite so well tonight, Mr. Palazzi.
I'm enjoying it, though.
Are you really?
Yes.
Having a good time, are you? Well, of course, there's always the Mexican League, Mr. Palazzi.
Yes, I'm liable to jump.
Yeah.
Wouldn't I look funny playing second base in the Mexican 20 questions?
That would be very good. You'd probably get paid more. Subject number 7 was thought up by Howard Zimmerman, whose home is in Brooklyn, New York, and this subject is mineral.
Bill is thinking about a subject in English literature. Silas Marner's Gold.
All right, let's see if you can get this as easily as Bobby did the rolling pin. This is tough. Vandervenner?
Is it metallic?
Yes, it's metal. Bobby?
Does it exist?
Today?
Yes.
No. Vandervenner?
Was it fictional?
Was fictional. Miss Bernard?
Was it in a...
Fiction, Bobby?
Did it have anything to do with the Knights?
With the Knights?
Yes.
You mean Knights?
Yes.
Or Ni?
You know, the ones that fight with spears and stuff like that.
Oh, the men that go out and
Yeah.
fight. Oh, that kind of knight.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why they called the first woman Eve. Did you know that? Because all the knights came after her. It had nothing to do with the knights, Bobby. That's all. Excuse me.
Yeah, I will.
Vandervenner?
He's in a daze.
Oh, days and nights. Good.
Was this,
All right. Now
You can't guess him. You have to say something.
Yes. Let's settle down to business here. We've got 5 questions moving toward this subject. Vandervenner.
Was this written by a definite particular person as distinguished from groups of people? Or
No, it's
something?
written by a specific person. A subject in fiction written by a specific person. Miss Bernard.
Was it an English fiction?
Yes.
Was it by Shakespeare?
No. We always get that question, don't we?
Sometimes it's right.
That's right. Mr. Kieran knows that. Bobby?
Was it by Scott?
No, not by Scott. Mr. Plazen?
I was going to say Dickens. Should I say Dickens?
Well, you've already said Dickens. Now, that is 10 questions.
Oh, was it Dickens?
No, I'm sorry. It was not Dickens. Vanderbilt?
Well, is this in contemporary English fiction?
Contemporary? You mean, is the author living?
Well, yes.
No.
Or in recent years, he doesn't have to be living to be contemporary.
No, it's scarcely considered contemporary.
We're after the object, aren't we? Excuse me.
We're after the subject. Subject.
Yes,
in
I mean the subject.
Piece of fiction. That question doesn't count.
No.
Bobby?
Is it in a classic?
Yes, it's classic. And you'll either have had it pretty soon in high school, or have got it now, Bobby.
Is it in the title of this book?
No, the subject is not in the title of the book. The thing we're after is not in the title of the book.
Was this author living about the same time as Dickens?
Later, I believe.
Later than Dickens?
Yes.
Was it in a poem?
No, it's in was not in a poem. My better nature gets up there every so often. Mr. Levin?
Was it a sharp object?
No, not sharp. We have 3 questions left.
Has it been established, this is not a question, has it been established that this was manufactured?
I think it was established that it was not in its natural state, which would presuppose some human type of processing on it, I guess. That ends our non-questionable colloquy, does it, Mr. Vandervenner?
Yeah.
All right, no charge. We're just as we started.
No, we're not. We're worse off.
Bobby?
Was it written by Stevenson?
No, I'm sorry, it was not written by Stevenson. 2 questions left. The subject is in the fiction. You know, you've been trying to locate who wrote it.
Yeah.
This is a toughie.
Well, if we knew who wrote it, we might know what he wrote about.
That's right, Miss Renard, but you don't know who wrote it yet, do you?
No, I don't know what he wrote about.
Van der Venne?
Was it Kipling?
No, it wasn't Kipling. There's only one question left, so you might just as well take a shot on this. Van der Venne?
Was it the chains inside the Tower of London hidden by the door of the Tower of London?
Is that why London Bridge is falling down? No, I'm awfully sorry. It was the gold that belonged to Silas Marner in the story by George Eliot. And that, I think, was a fairly tough one. Howard Zimmerman, a 16-year older, incidentally, of Brooklyn, New York, thought that up. And to Howard Zimmerman, in addition to Pageant Magazine for the rest of his life, which should be a long time, we're going to send 5 record albums consisting of the latest recorded hits to Howard Zimmerman. Congratulations, Howard. All right. Now I'm going to move into what I call quickies. We only have a few minutes left. We're going to see how long it takes you to get these subjects. Our first quickie is animal.
Bill Slater is thinking of that famous Texan, Sam Houston.
Everybody knows what it is. Now let's see how fast we can get it.
Is it a man?
Yep.
Is he in the sports world?
No.
Is he in the military world?
Yes.
Is he an American?
Yes.
Is he a 5-star general?
No.
Is he living?
No.
Is it Patton?
No.
Did he fight in this war?
No.
Civil War?
No.
First World War?
No.
Revolution?
No.
Did he fight in the war?
Yes.
In the Spanish-American War?
No.
Was he American?
Yes. We asked that.
Was he in the Army?
That wasn't a professional soldier. He was in...
You said he was in military.
Military? That's right. That's right. But he did not make a profession of being a soldier.
Well, was he a cowpuncher or a Westerner?
It was a Westerner. It wasn't a cowpuncher.
Was it Custer?
No, it wasn't Custer.
Buffalo Bill?
Not quite.
Kid Carson?
No.
Well, did he have to do with Indians?
No, not primarily.
Was it Fremont?
No.
Was he on the side of law and order?
Yes.
Sam Houston?
Sam Houston is right. Very good. A minute and 10 seconds to get Sam Houston. That was not an easy subject, you see. All right, let's try this next one here. This next one, quickie I've thought up. I think it's a very entrancing little one. This is primarily mineral and vegetable.
The panel will try to guess Waikiki Beach.
All right, we've just got a minute to go now. Let's see if we can get this in a minute.
Is it a body of water?
No. You're close, though.
Is it manufactured?
No.
An area of land?
Yes.
Is it in the United States?
No. Not the United States proper.
Is it a mountain?
No.
Is it an island?
It's part of one.
Is it in Alaska?
No.
Is it in the Hawaiians?
Yes.
Is it Diamond Head?
No. But you're not too far away.
Pearl Harbor?
Not exactly.
Is it the beach at Waikiki?
The beach at Waikiki. You both got it. Very, very good. Well,
now I can get back in the house tonight.
It would only take you 30 seconds to get to the beach at Waikiki, and I think you did a very, very good job tonight. It's a sort of a historic evening at that, because we sent out 3 grand prizes tonight, which I think is more than we have ever sent out before, but they were tough questions. Enjoyed it a lot, however. Next week, friends, we'll be playing 20 questions again at the same time over most of these stations. And if you've enjoyed our program, you will enjoy reading Pageant Magazine on sale at all newsstands. Now, here's Robert Martin to tell you how to submit your subjects. Bob?
Thank you, William Slater. Just write the name of the subject to be identified on a postcard. Mail it with your name and address to 20 Questions in care of the Mutual Broadcasting System, New York 18. A year subscription to Pageant Magazine will be awarded for any subject used. In case of duplication or similarity, the decision of our judges will be final and all entries become our property. Should you submit some subject that cannot be identified by our questioners within 20 questions, you'll receive a special surprise prize plus a lifetime subscription to Pageant Magazine. Tune in again next week when Fred Van Deventer, Florence Renard, Herb Palacey, and Bobby McGuire try to identify the subjects you suggest. Our guest for next week is Mr. Howard Dietz, Advertising and Publicity Director of Metro Golden Air. This is Bob Martin speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Stay tuned for Double or Nothing, produced and transcribed in Hollywood. For lively flavor and goodness that no one single juice can surpass. Serve V8 vegetable juices. There's goodness in every glass. V8, V8, the all-vegetable drink. It's great. 8 luscious vegetables in every glass of V8. Delicious, nutritious V8. So buy a can of V8. It's great.
Good. Good. 21 kinds to choose from. Good.
From Hollywood, Campbell Soup present Double or Nothing, starring Walter O'Keefe.
27 million Americans every day eat soup for lunch. 27 million happy people share one habit, soup for lunch.
What do you have with your soup for lunch? A sandwich, a salad, dessert? Whichever it is, I'll bet you have soup for lunch, because we Americans are soup eaters. And a soup we really like is Campbell's vegetable soup, a regular market basket of garden vegetables and homey beef stock. Good. Often for your soup for lunch, have Campbell's vegetable soup. Here now is Double or Nothing in Campbell Soup's Bet of the Half Hour. Your paymaster of ceremonies, Walter O'Keefe. Okay, O'Keefe.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for such a hearty welcome. Greetings to all of you around the country, and inasmuch as school has not started yet, we do this broadcast in front of some of the most distinguished members of the Hopalong Cassidy social set. I am not kidding when I talk about Hopalong, because I swear I never would have gotten here on time today had it not been for my Hopalong bicycle. I've got a new Hopalong bike. Oh, it's wonderful. It's got chaps. It's got saddlebags. It is amazing to me the way they have Hopalong this, Hopalong. They've got it on soap. He's got it on gloves and hats. And this afternoon, Mrs. O'Keefe is going out to buy her first. She's so excited. She's getting one of the new Hopalong girdles. Which I think leads us up, and high time to Double or Nothing. We have a lady here from Nashville 10, originally, now from Kansas Can. Her name is...
Kansas.
Pardon?
Wichita, Kansas.
Wichita?
Oh, yes.
Her name is Mrs. Nona Blue Henderson. That is a unique name, Nona, that blue business.
Yes.
How did you get blue? Was it your aristocratic blood, or what is...
One of my husbands. And I'm afraid...
One of your husbands?
Yes.
Shall we keep score for the...
Oh, it don't make any difference.
Well, how many husbands did you have?
Just 3.
Just
so
3.
far.
So far. 3 so far. How old are you now, child?
Only 63.
Only 63. You know, my friend Charlie Butterworth, remember the famous comedian who died some years ago? Charlie had a theory about this multiple husband and wife thing. I remember a line of Charlie's that I used to love. He says, any man who gets married a second time doesn't deserve to lose his first wife. Now, Nona, let me ask you this. What is your job? You work on the Wichita Beacon?
Yes, largest newspaper in the state of Kansas, and just growing all the time. I sell...
Who is? The paper?
The paper.
The
and
paper.
The city, too. The city, too.
And the city, too?
Oh, yes.
And what department are you in there?
Special display advertising.
Oh, for heaven's sake. You write display?
Oh, yes.
I used to write display advertising in the South Bend News-Times.
Is that right?
Yes, that was right after the Civil War.
That's a long time. That's before my time.
It's before your time. Well, now, what is your favorite type of advertising?
Well, I have so much diversified. I write a lot of mortuary advertising, too. You were talking about Forest Lawn. And
you write a lot of mortuary advertising?
I was taking notes then of how I do when I got back home.
Well, you know, I think the important thing, Nona, is, look, this is a good idea. I always think, because I did the same thing you're doing, it's easier to sell space to an advertiser if you have an idea.
Oh, yes.
You know,
we
with
make
a
our
cut
own
and a copy.
Ideas. Oh,
I'll
yes.
give you one for your favorite undertaker.
Okay.
This came, I think, out of a Wisconsin paper. It says... why walk around half dead when we can bury you for $75?
That's really wonderful.
Why don't you go home and sell that adding with
I'll
it.
sure do it to the Broadway part. That's a good one.
Now, what are some of your enthusiasms? You're a very happy guy, and you've raised 5 sons, and you're a working woman now at 63. What are
And
some
a
of your...
housekeeper.
And a housekeeper,
I like
too?
to do everything. Oh, yes. I'm a wonderful cook, and I like to fish, and I like to read. And the 6 months prior to coming here that I had been practically an invalid, I never missed a day getting on your program. And I sent in more questions that were grand, and you never did read them over there. And I could have just killed, and I bought so much pork and beans that I got overweight. That's your fault, too.
Nona, I'm sorry that you were laid up, but I'm glad that during the period of your indisposition you were listening to Double or Nothing.
I enjoyed every minute of it.
Thank you very much, Nona. It's been pleasant to have you here. Now, what is your favorite kind of Campbell soup?
Oh, cream of mushroom, of course.
We'll send you a gift carton with a sponsor's compliments,
Thank
and here's
you.
a chance to win $80. If you were a rhinoceros, this is going to require a feat of imagination on your part, because I don't think you ever thought of being a rhinoceros, did you?
No.
How long would it take you to amble 100 yards?
Well, how much does he weigh?
You're a pixie. You were laid up for 6 months. You listen to this every day,
Every
and
day.
you know I can't answer questions like that, Nona.
Well, I'd say maybe 10 minutes.
10 minutes. All right, thank you, Nona. What category have you chosen?
I don't know whether I know it or not. Preserves and condiments.
Oh, I'll bet you.
Well,
you said you were a good cook.
I ain't so all yours at home, but you know when you get up here, you get stage fright, and you don't know whether you can do it
You
or not.
are suffering less from stage fright than anybody this side of Jolson, Nona. You're all right.
First time I was ever in front of a microphone.
Is it, dear? Well, you
That's right.
comport yourself with great dignity and wit, so
Thank
good
you,
luck
Mr.
to you. I
O'Keefe.
think you'll do all right here. Here's the $2 question for Campbell's soup. If you boil up your fruit with sugar, it's generally called what?
Preserves.
Yeah, jam, that sort
Jam,
of thing.
jelly.
A traffic jam comes when only one driver is boiled. I mean, that's creative. Now, the $4 question for Campbell's soup. If you boil your fruit and sugar and then strain it so that it's clear, what do you have?
Well, you can take the juice and have jelly, and then...
That's it. That's the point. You've made $4, see? You were right at home when you said if I could get up there, I could answer these, couldn't you?
Yes.
$6 question for Campbell's. Chopped fruits, raisin, mangoes, and spices, blended in vinegar, is often served with curry dishes. This East Indian condiment is called what?
I call it conserve.
You call it what?
Conserve?
Conserve? Well, in Kansas, it's conserve. In London, it's chutney, but you're both winners. Now, the $10 question. If you get stuck again, just tell me what you call it in Kansas. $10 question for Campbell's soups. A French preserve of red currants, sugar, and syrup starts with the letter B. I'll give you 3 hints here. Is it bonbon, or is it barley dew, or is it bientôt?
I'd say barley dew.
Barley dew. You're very You want to go double or nothing for 20?
I don't know. I guess I better try it. If I lose, I lose.
Well, you get a head on your shoulders, and as long as my head is on mine, we'll do all right. Now, Campbell's soup asks you for $20, double or nothing. The thickening compound that you need for making jams and jelly starts with the letter P. What is
Pectin.
it? Pectin for you. You're good. Now, double or nothing for 40?
I reckon.
Does this feel like your first hayride? Exciting?
Yes.
$40, double or nothing. Campbell's asked you this. A jam that's made of oranges with a sliced orange peel left in it is called what?
Marmalade.
You've won $40. Thank you. Congratulations. Now, Lou Crosby.
Today I'm Dan Cupid Crosby, Walter, and I'm aiming my arrows at all the sweet young things that are going to get married this fall. Start out right, gals. That very first dinner you cook for your brand new husband, start it off with Campbell's vegetable soup. If you do, you'll never have to hear about the swell vegetable soup his mother used to make. No, sirree, because Campbell's vegetable soup is every bit as delicious as the best home kind. Homey beef broth, chock full of bright garden vegetables. Mmm, good. Besides being so delicious, it's also nourishing. Almost a meal in itself. So when you build that first meal of yours around brimming bowls of Campbell's vegetable soup, you won't have to fix much else for that first dinner in your new home. Good food is mighty important to a happy marriage. Believe me, Campbell's vegetable soup is good food. So stock up on Campbell's vegetable soup.
We just had a gentleman get up from his chair and try to slide in and touch the microphone in a second. He had rather a shaky start, but I'm sure he'll finish strong. His name is Arthur F. Gruby. And Arthur, where were you born?
New York City.
New York?
Yeah, around First Avenue.
Around... You were born around where?
The current side of the United Nations on 46th, 47th Street on First Avenue.
On First Avenue?
Right.
I sometimes think that's the worst thing that can happen to you. Let me ask you this. You are a retired agent in charge of Secret Service? Is that right?
That's right, yes.
You mean you were in the Secret Service?
I was with the government over 35 and 28 years with the Secret Service.
Let me ask you this. You know, Arthur... When I was a kid, Secret Service, of course, was the big phrase that implied mystery. Before we had a thing like FBI, was the Secret Service the forerunner or the parent, the godfather of the FBI?
Well,
what were the duties of the Secret Service?
The Secret Service came into being during the Civil War and had mostly to do with counterfeiting.
Counterfeiting?
That's right.
Well, what do you know about counterfeiting?
Well, I know quite a bit. And we
hey,
have
listen, maybe we could go into business here, Arthur. Tell me about it. Say, incidentally, Arthur, I want to ask a question of you. I read a story, I don't know whether there was more than one issue or not, in Harold Ross's magazine, The New Yorker, about the old man, and I think there was a number attached to it, and they had an awful time catching him, who counterfeited on a very small scale.
That's right. That was in the October issue of the New Yorker.
I knew I read about it. What was the name of the guy?
Well, the 20th Century Fox just made a picture, Mr. 880. And it's based on that case, and I was technical advisor on it for the last 2 months, yes, sir.
Well, that's it. Did any of you guys read that article about this guy? And 20th Century just made a picture on it.
They just made it, and it's a very authentic picture. They don't have all this boom, boom, boom business, you know, a lot of...
Well, he wasn't a boom, boom, boom type of guy.
No, he wasn't.
He just went on quietly with his plates. The name was Mr. 880.
That's right.
And
That's
20th Century produced it. When does it come out?
Well, it'll be out most any time now.
And you were technical advisor?
That's right.
Why don't you tell these guys? I remember vaguely. You know more about it. Arthur, tell them a little bit about this character. Tell the people.
Well, this, in the actual story, this was an old man who counterfeited $1 bills. And he only passed a few a month, and he operated for several years. The smallest of his operations, and the way he passed them, well, he got away with it for a long time.
He never went in a big scale.
No,
it was just enough to get along.
Just $1 bills, and it just so happened that I got one of them out here in 1945, the only bill that found its way west of the Mississippi, one of these $1 bills.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if we're passing any counterfeit here. There's a fellow's picture on this bill. It says his name is Washington. Is that all right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. First name, George?
George.
Got a lot of hair?
Quite a bit.
Got a lot of hair. Number B67168905F, or if not, call Hillside 4562. All right, Arthur, let's see if you can win some money here. By the way, what is your favorite kind of Campbell soup, sir?
Well, I like chicken, the chicken soup, and I like the bacon and bean.
All right, we'll send you a gift carton, Arthur, with the sponsor's compliments.
Well, that's what.
And here comes the $80 Grand Slam question. If you were a rhinoceros, how long would it take you to amble 100 yards with a trunk full of counterfeit money?
That'd be 300 feet. Oh, I would say about a minute.
1 minute. Thank you, Arthur. What category have you chosen, sir?
See,
common last names in America?
That's right.
I think you'll do all right here. In Good Housekeeping magazine, which, of course, I read from cover to cover monthly, an article lists 4.5 million people in the United States as having one of 50 names. These are very common, ordinary names. Here's the $2 question for Campbell Soup. The most common American last name is that of Captain John, who tried to speak from Miles Standish. What last name is this?
John Smith.
That's right. In second place are 4 last names. One of these is that of a male movie star. Van what? It's a common name. Van what?
Van
and it isn't
Johnson.
Heflin. Van Johnson, that's it. $6 question for Campbell Soups. One of the 9th place names is that of the former Wild West Desperados. They were brothers, the most famous of whom was Jesse.
Jesse James.
All right? $10 question for Campbell Soups. In last place is the name of the all-time great Negro Olympic champion runner, Jesse what?
Jesse Owens.
Good boy. Now you've won $10. Do you want to go double or nothing?
Absolutely.
I wish we could slip you some counterfeit just to make it bigger. For $20, Campbell Soups wants to know this. One of the names tying for 9th place is Alice Faye's husband, Phil what?
Phil Harris.
That's right. Now, for $40, double or nothing, Campbell's wants the answer here. Formerly in 2nd place, but now in 6th, are the people with the last name you're supposed to be trying to keep up with. Keep up with the who?
Joneses.
You've won $40. Congratulations and thank you. Our next contestant will tackle our next question in just a moment.
This concludes the first half of Double or Nothing, brought to you by Campbell's Vegetable Soup.
Blow the whistle and get on the track of Campbell's pork and beans. 'Cause once you try 'em, you'll never go back to any other beans. Campbell's are top, so get 'em today. Give 'em a try and you're gonna say, for flavor and zest, the beans that are best are Campbell's pork and beans.
Now, Double or Nothing again, brought to you by Campbell's Pork and Beans. Listen for the Grand Slam finish in the red and white sweepstakes. And here's our paymaster of ceremonies, Walter O'Keefe. Okay,
Now we have a lady who's visiting here originally from Dayton, Ohio. Her name is Mrs. Letha Dent, D-E-N-T, and a very unique name that is. Now, what's your job?
Well, my husband's a turkey doctor, and I help him quite
Don't
a bit.
run so fast there. When you say that, that fascinates me. Your husband is a turkey doctor?
That's right. And I help him quite a bit. So you need quite a bit of help, as many as 10 and 12 people at sometimes.
Yeah.
When you first get the turkeys, you have to count them, and as you count them, you vaccinate them. And as you take them out of boxes, you can easily make mistakes. And then after you've had them about 3 months, you vaccinate them again for chicken pox. And that requires quite a few because they've grown quite large. You need
Wait a minute, turkeys get chicken pox?
Well, that's to keep a scale off of their
To
head.
get chickens get turkey pox.
But they get this just about around Thanksgiving time when you want to sell them.
The first vaccination is for what?
That's for the sniffles or something like a cold or the sniffles.
Now, look, dear, I'd like to have you win some money. You've already won a gift card in the Campbell's Pork and Beans. Here's a chance to win $80 in the Grand Slam question. If you were a rhinoceros, how long would it take you to amble 100 yards?
I'd say about 9.5 minutes.
9.5 minutes? Thank you. What category have you chosen, Mrs. Dent?
I think I'll try music, number 1.
That brings Irv Orton into play. There's a number in the title of every one of these songs. Mr. Orton, the Altadena prominent tournament official from Life magazine of a couple of weeks ago, that anonymous, sad-looking, unlisted man will now play you the $2 question for Campbell. There's a number involved in this title.
3 little pigs.
3 little what?
3 little fishes.
3 little fishes. That was written by Saxy Dowell. That leads you up to the $4 question for Campbell's, and this is on the organ.
I'm looking over a 4-leaf clover.
I'm looking over a 4-leaf clover. That's fine. Now the Campbell $6 question on the organ and piano. What is it?
T for 2.
T for 2. All right, that wins you $6, and you come to the Campbell $10 question on the organ. There's a number involved here.
1.
Take a number from 1 to 10. 1 kiss. Now, do you want to go double or nothing?
I'll try.
For $20, Campbell's wants you to give us the answer to this. Let's have it, Irv. Eyes of blue.
2 foot.
Has anybody seen?
5'2".
5'2". That is the book about the Dr. Eliot shelf of books. Now, for $40, double or nothing, Campbell's wants the answer to this.
3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning, you win $40. Congratulations. Now, here's the reason lovely Linda Crosby agrees it's so nice to have a man around the house. Hubby, Lou Crosby.
And here's something gals everywhere agree on, Walter. It's so nice to have plenty of Campbell's pork and beans around the house to feed hungry hubbies like me.
Even I agree on that, Lou.
And whether Mom has a big family or a small family with big appetites, she'll have plenty to satisfy everybody if she opens up a big 1-pound, 7-ounce, family-size can of Campbell's pork and beans.
The big buy and the best beans.
She'll need plenty, too. Folks really go for Campbell's pork and beans. They're so different from ordinary beans. You see, Campbell's cook their beans a special way.
They Campbell cook them.
Right along with lean bacon pork and rich tomato sauce, till there's extra flavor in every bean. Delicious. You gals listening, get the big buy and the best beans. Get the big family-size can of Campbell's pork and beans.
For heaven's sakes, I find a fellow who originally comes from Meriden, Connecticut, and I'm from Hartford, and his name is Captain Mark S. Azolina, and he's been in the U.S. Air Force 9 years. Monsieur le Capitaine,
Right.
enchanté.
Hi,
Now, Mark, you've been with the Air Force 9 years. Where are you stationed now?
I'm here in Hollywood at Armed Forces Radio Service.
Armed Forces Radio?
Uh-huh.
What did you start out as, Mark, back in Meriden? There's a couple of years between us. I wasn't around then.
Well, I started out as a little kid, as a singer, as a
How
little
strange.
boy.
You started out as a little kid. For heaven's sake, I lived in Connecticut for years and never dreamed that a guy in Meriden would start out as a little kid.
Well...
you were a boy soprano. What did you become when you grew up?
I became an Air Force officer who was dying to sing at almost any drop of a hat.
Mark, I haven't got my hat here, but Crosby... Yeah, I haven't got my hat, but I'll dock my toupee if you will... Any American boy of Italian extraction who can sing like that deserves to meet Ava Gardner. Mark, we're going to send you a gift carton of... We're going to send you a gift carton of pork and beans, which is really not adequate for your contribution here, singing in such a wonderful way. I'm going to give you a shot at the Grand Slam question. If you were a rhinoceros, how long would it take you to amble 100 yards?
I'd say 2 minutes and 15 seconds, Waller.
All right, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, double or nothing for $40.
Wow.
I want to make this hard for you. We've only got time for one question. Where were you born?
Meriden, sir.
You've won $40. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll be back in just a moment with the Grand Slam winner and the red and white sweepstakes.
Blow the whistle and get on the track of Campbell's pork and beans. 'Cause once you try 'em, you'll never go back to any other beans. Campbell's are top, so get 'em today. Give 'em a try and you're gonna say for flavor and zest, the beans that are best are Campbell's pork and beans.
Yes, you'll say Campbell's are the best pork and beans you ever tasted. Once you polish off a heaping plateful, you'll agree. Millions buy 'em, try 'em, and never go back to ordinary beans. So right away, today get the best. Get Campbell's pork and beans.
Today's Grand Slam question is going to knock you right over in your pagodas. Here is the question. If you were a rhinoceros, how long would it take you to amble 100 yards? And the answer, believe it or not, is 7.3 seconds. And with an estimate of 1 minute, the counterfeiter detector, Arthur Gruby, wins the $80.
Now, friends, our most exciting moment, the red and white sweepstakes. Today's cash prize from Campbell's amounts to $220. Today's winning question comes from Mrs. Viola D. Brock of 917 Plaquemine Street, Plaquemine, Louisiana, and we'll pay half our sweepstakes, $110 for it. The first contestant to come up with the correct answer wins the other half of our sweepstakes, or $110. If no one wins, the studio contestants' half the money will be added to tomorrow's red and white sweepstakes. Walter?
You only have 30 seconds for Mrs. Brock's question from Plaquemine Mouth. Now, what country is more than 25 times as long as its average width?
Campbell's bring you the red and white sweepstakes. Campbell's paying off again. Take a try at the red and white sweepstakes. Think about it, think about it.
Yes, we do have a winner today. The answer is Chile. The winner is a scholar and a gentleman, a student of history. What is his name, Lou?
He is also a student of phony money. Walter Arthur F. Cruz.
Arthur, may I say that you have joined one of that select group that we've met in the last 4 years. You won the $40, you won the Grand Slam, you won the sweepstakes, and that hasn't happened very often. What are you going to do, buy an annuity?
No, I don't know what I'm going to do. There's so many things we need, but I'll probably find out when I get home.
Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Every day on Double or Nothing, you listeners have a chance to win half the sweepstakes money by sending in the winning sweepstakes question. Here's all you do. Think up a question on any subject. Print your name and address on the back of a Campbell's Pork and Beans label. That's right, a label from a can of Campbell's Pork and Beans. Add the call letters of the station on which you hear Double or Nothing, then write your question and answer under your name and indicate a standard authority such as an encyclopedia, atlas, or other source where we can check the accuracy of your answer. Then mail it to Double or Nothing Sweepstakes, Box 551, Hollywood, 28, California. Questions will be judged on the basis of originality, interest, and neatness, and clarity of presentation. Entries to be considered for next week's program must be postmarked during the 7 days prior to midnight this Saturday. The person who submits the winning entry will receive one half the sweepstakes for that program. The decision of the judges is final. Duplicate prizes will be awarded in case of ties. All questions become the property of the makers of Campbell's Pork and Beans, and none will be returned.
This is Walter O'Keefe saying goodbye for now, and when you buy pork and beans, get the best. Say goodbye to the rest, get Campbell's.
Two different half-hour shows of Double or Nothing starring Walter O'Keefe are broadcast every day, Monday through Friday, by Campbell's Soups and Campbell's Pork and Beans. Listen tomorrow morning on many of these stations, or at the same time tomorrow on all of these stations for Double or Nothing. This is Lou Crosby saying goodbye for now.
Is it hot in your kitchen today? By the stove, I mean. Well, to keep away from that stove as much as possible and still give your family a satisfying, nourishing dish for supper tonight, serve Franco-American spaghetti. It's off the stove in 5 minutes, yet so doggone good, they'll think you slaved for hours. Fine, firm, tender spaghetti in an extra delicious sauce. Get Franco-American spaghetti today.
We take you now to the stage of the Chicago Theater in Chicago, where Mars Incorporated, makers of Milky Way candy, present Dr. I.Q., the mental banker.
Presenting Dr. I.Q. Mars Incorporated, makers of Milky Way, America's most enjoyable candy bar, bring you 30 minutes of fun with your genial master of wit and information, Dr. I.Q., the mental banker. We hope you will enjoy this program tonight, and we know you will always enjoy the taste of a Milky Way. Have you discovered yet how cooling and enjoyable a Milky Way is when it has just been freshly chilled in the refrigerator? You'll be surprised what a delightful experience it is in the middle of a hot summer day to open the refrigerator and take out a chilled Milky Way. With the first bite, the crisp milk chocolate coating, the layer of smooth, creamy caramel, and the chilled center of chocolate nougat, flavored with real malted milk, blend into that cool, delightful taste you will find only in a Milky Way. And what's more, you will find every bite just as enjoyable, right down to the last delightful taste that lingers in your mouth. When you crave good candy, eat a Milky Way. And now here is that wise man with a friendly smile, that man with tonight's questions and cash for your correct answers, Dr. IQ.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My assistants with portable microphones are scattered throughout the audience. Now, those in the theater who volunteer to answer questions are handed a portable microphone and remain in their seats while answering my questions. Allow me first to introduce my assistants. Donald Dowd on my right downstairs.
Thank you, Doctor.
Gene Rouse in the center aisle.
Thank you, Doctor.
Lynn Brandt on my left downstairs.
Thank you, Doctor.
Norm Barry on my right upstairs.
Thank you, Doctor.
And Bob Brown on my left upstairs.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right, Donald Dowd, our first contestant of the evening, please.
I have a lady here, Doctor.
$6 for the correct answer to this one. The former capital of China was named Peking. Now, Peking is a name not used anymore. By what name is this city now known? No coaching, please. 10 seconds.
I'm sorry, Doctor, I don't know.
Peking. However, give that lady a box of 24 bars of chocolate Milky Way and 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater, Daughters Courageous. Gene Rouse in the center aisle.
Yes, Doctor, I have a gentleman here.
$7 for this one, sir. Mexico, our nearest neighbor to the south, touches 3 of our states besides Texas. $7 if you name all 3. No coaching, Dawson.
California.
California's 1.
New Mexico.
That's 2. Go right ahead now. You have it on the tip of your tongue, just like a Milky Way. 10 seconds there. I'm sorry, it's Arizona. However, give that gentleman a box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater. Lynn Brandt, please.
I have a lady here, Doctor.
$11 for this one, please. If you have looked closely at the coat of arms of the United States, you will have noticed in the talons of the eagle on one side an olive branch, and on the other a bunch of arrows. Now, just what do the arrows and the olive branch signify?
The olive branch signifies peace.
That's correct. And the arrows?
The arrows should signify war.
That is absolutely worth $11 silver to that lady.
May I have your name and address, please?
Annetta Ruby, 3351 Balmoral.
Thank
Here's
you.
your $11.
Congratulations as our first one of the evening. All right, Norm Barry.
Yes, Doctor. I have a gentleman here.
I wonder if this gentleman could tell me, and now $21 for this one, sir. In regard to clothing, what is the difference between a doublet and a singlet?
Well, a doublet is a garment.
What type would you say, sir?
With a belt.
Well, I mean, you mean a coat, in other words. I think you have it correctly. Is that right, sir? And how about that singlet? A singlet. A doublet is a close-fitting jacket. We'll give you the benefit on that one. And a singlet.
Well, I'm afraid I can't answer that.
A singlet is an undershirt or a jersey. However, give that gentleman 2 tickets to next week's production, Daughters Courageous, here at the Chicago Theater, and a box of Milky Ways. Bob Brown.
I have a lady here, Doctor.
I wonder if this lady could tell me for $7 silver and no coaching, please. Would you read, eat, ride, or sing a brochure? Would you read, eat, ride, or sing a brochure?
Sing.
I beg your pardon?
Sing.
I'm sorry you'd read it. You see, it's a pamphlet or a catalog. However, give the lady a box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater. Donald Dowd.
I have a gentleman here, Doctor.
$6 for this one, sir, in 10 seconds. If Philadelphia is not the capital of Pennsylvania, then what is the capital?
Harrisburg.
$6 to that gentleman. There we are.
Raymond A. Clamp, 61 East Oak Street.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations. All right, Gene Rouse.
Yes, Doctor, I have a lady.
I wonder if this lady could describe for $5 silver the color of a bay, B-A-Y, horse. A bay horse.
Light tan.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's reddish brown. However, give the lady a box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater. Lynn Brandt.
And here is a gentleman, Doctor.
I am going to describe, sir, a well-known personality a few clues at a time. If you identify him correctly after the first clue is given, you will receive $25. The longer it takes you to identify him, the less your reward. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, I do.
Number 1, $25. He was born December 30th, 1873, at 174 South Street on the waterfront in New York City.
Alfred Smith.
Alfred Smith is correct.
May I have your name and address?
Edward Schulteis, 4100 Keystone Avenue.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations. You are the second in our series to take our biographical on the first clue. All right, Norm Barry, please.
Yes, Doctor, I have a lady here.
$23 for this one, please. Howland, Baker, Jarvis have what in common? No coaching now, please.
Would you please repeat?
Yes, I'll be very happy to. Howland, Baker, and Jarvis have what in common? Now go ahead.
I'm afraid I don't know.
Oh, they're all islands claimed by the United States by reason of discovery during the last century. Give the lady 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater, Daughters Courageous, and a box of Milky Ways. Bob Brown.
I have a gentleman here, Doctor.
$7 for this one, sir, in 5 seconds. In what harbor did the sinking of the Maine take place? No coaching now.
In Havana.
Havana, Cuba, $7 to that gentleman. Here we go.
Your name and address, please.
F.E. Gibbons, Rockford, Illinois.
Thank you, sir, and we're glad to have you with us this evening. All right, Donald Dowd.
I have a lady here, Doctor.
I wonder if this lady could tell me for $12, how would a woman, a civilian, and a soldier salute the flag when it is passing in a parade?
A woman, a soldier, and a what?
And a civilian.
A woman would just stand and salute the flag with her hand.
And just how would she salute the flag, please? Now go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know.
Well, you see, I'm sorry, too. You see, a woman places the right hand over the heart.
Oh.
A man removes his hat with the right hand and holds it over his heart, and a soldier gives the hand salute. But to that lady, 2 tickets to next week's production and a box of chocolate Milky Ways. Gene Rouse, please.
Yes, Doctor, I have a gentleman here.
$5 for this one, sir. 5 seconds. What was the name of the person who took a lighted lantern and made a diligent search for an honest man?
Aladdin?
That's all right, sir. It was Diogenes. I'm sorry. Give the gentleman a box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater. Lynn Brandt on my left downstairs.
I have a lady here, Doctor.
$6 for this one, please. Now, how would you correctly pronounce N-A-P-H-T-H-A?
Naphtha.
How's that?
Naphtha.
Well, spell it like you'd pronounce it now for me.
N-A-F-T-H-A.
Naphtha is right. Well, I'll tell you. I'll make that $5 for naphtha. You already have $5 now. Now I've spelled it for you correctly. You spell it for me for another $3. Correctly. You pronounced it correctly. Spell it correctly.
N-A-P-H-T-H-A.
Give that lady $8 silver. Here we go.
May I have your name and address, please?
Mrs. E.W. Mitchell, 1220 North State Parkway.
Thank you and congratulations. All right, Norm Barry.
Yes, Doctor, I have a gentleman here.
Well, here again is that individual portion of our Dr. IQ broadcast, the Thought Twister. Tonight I'm going to say this sentence twice, but mind you, you must repeat it exactly as I say it if you wish to receive this $25. Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
Now wait till I repeat it twice. Here we go. Did that phone ring? Asked Ted of Bing. No, the phone is dead, Ted. To him said Bing. Number 2. Did that phone ring? Asked Ted of Bing. No, the phone is dead, Ted. To him said Bing.
If that phone ring, said Bing. Oh, missed.
I'm sorry, you want to make another start at it?
I'm sorry, I missed.
All right, it was, did that phone ring? Asked Ted of Bing. No, the phone is dead, Ted. To him said Bing. However, give that gentleman a box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater. Bob Brown, please.
I have a lady here, Doctor.
$7 for this one. If Robert Louis Stevenson wrote Treasure Island and Jim Hawkins was the hero, then who in the book told the tale? Shall I repeat it?
Stephen?
If Robert Louis Stevenson wrote Treasure Island and Jim Hawkins was the hero, then who in the book told the tale?
Jim Hopkins?
Jim Hawkins is worth $7 to you, madam.
Congratulations, Ed. Your name and address, please.
Florence Branding, 201 West Fargo.
Thank you very much. Now we come to the right and wrong portion of our program, in which those here in the theater will mark yes or no on their tally cards in answer to the right and wrong statements sent in by the radio audience. We are happy to announce that last week here in the Chicago Theater, one person marked his tally card correctly. And as our Mastermind Award was $200, he will receive a check in this amount. This winner was Mr. Donald B. Sherwood, 457 Belmont Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Congratulations. You may indeed be proud, sir, of the fact that out of the thousands here in the theater, you were the only one who marked your tally card correctly. Our Mastermind Award tonight is again $100. In the event there are no winners in the theater tonight, our next week's award will be $200. Now, we know you in the radio audience are interested in hearing the correct answers to our 12 statements last week in order that you may check your own IQ. Here are last week's answers. Number 1, a howitzer is a gun and not a sudden hurricane at sea. Number 2, a leatherback is a sea turtle and not a United States Marine. Number 3, haricot is a meat and vegetable stew. It really is. Number 4, the shaddock is a citrus fruit and not a fish. Number 5, a Portuguese man of war is a fish and not a South American bird. Number 6, a mnemonic device is a device designed to aid the memory. Number 7, the gridiron is a contrivance used when repairing the hulls of ships. Number 8, an aneroid barometer is not used to measure the humidity of the air as it is used to measure the air pressure. Number 9, we pledge our fortunes and our sacred honor is part of the last line of the Declaration of Independence and not the oath taken by the 3 Musketeers. Number 10, Hollywood, California does not have 7 different railway terminals. Number 11, the elver is a young eel and not a carpenter's tool. Number 12, passenger pigeons are not used by the United States Signal Corps. In fact, they are now extinct. Now, since you in the radio audience do not have an opportunity to win by answering the right and wrong questions, allow me to present Alan Anthony, who will tell you how you can win $50 to $150.
Here is how you radio listeners may win the $50 to $150 by furnishing the right and wrong statements to be used here in the theater next Monday night. The judges each week select 3 sets of 4 statements each and award $50 for each 4 statements they select. Consequently, if 2 of your sets are selected, you win $100. And if 3 sets are selected, you win $150. Now, if you would like to participate, here are the rules. First, send in on 1 sheet of paper 4 statements which can be answered yes or no. Accompany each statement with the answer. Second, put exactly 4 statements on the page, no more, no less, as the statements will only be selected in sets of 4. Third, accompany each set with a printed Milky Way wrapper and send them to Dr. I.Q., Chicago, Illinois. Now, you may send in as many entries as you wish, as long as you accompany each entry with a Milky Way wrapper. All entries must be postmarked not later than Thursday midnight, July 20th, to be used next Monday night. All entries become the property of Mars Incorporated, and the decision of the judges will be final. This contest is open to everyone, except employees of Mars Incorporated and their advertising agency.
The winners will be announced next Monday night, and your checks will be mailed by that time. And now, Dr. IQ. The 3 sets selected for tonight by the judges were submitted by J.D. McNair, Wernsboro, Georgia; Helen Stone, 1837 Greenleaf Avenue, Chicago, Illinois; Mrs. Carmen de Blasio, 971 Broadway, West Somerville, Massachusetts. Congratulations. Your checks in the amount of $50 each have been mailed to you by the makers of Milky Way. And here are the 12 right and wrong statements chosen for tonight. I shall repeat each statement. Number 1. An average standard bushel of corn weighs 62 pounds in all states. An average standard bushel of corn weighs 62 pounds in all states. Number 2. The United States has issued $50 gold pieces. The United States has issued $50 gold pieces. Number 3. A township usually has 60 square miles. A township usually has 60 square miles. Number 4. Helium is found only in the United States and Canada. Helium is found only in the United States and Canada. Number 5. Puerto Rico is ruled by a governor appointed by the president. Puerto Rico is ruled by a governor appointed by the president. Number 6. The Jay Treaty ended the War of 1812. The capital J-A-Y, Jay Treaty, ended the War of 1812. Number 7. Oberammergau is in Peru. Oberammergau, capital O-B-E-R-A-M-M-E-R-G-A-U, Oberammergau is in Peru. Number 8. The Bureau of Indian Affairs is under the Secretary of War. The Bureau of Indian Affairs is under the Secretary of War. Number 9. The seeds of the opium poppy are poisonous. The seeds of the opium poppy are poisonous. Number 10. The Cuban trocha, T-R-O-C-H-A, is a weapon of highly tempered steel. The Cuban trocha is a weapon of highly tempered steel. Number 11. At the present time, 2 republics have presidents who were born in the United States. At the present time, 2 republics have presidents who were born in the United States. Number 12. At the beginning of the war between the states, no Union officer held the rank of general. At the beginning of the war between the states, no Union officer held the rank of general. Now, ladies and gentlemen, kindly pass your tally cards toward the center aisles in order that we may get on with the regular portion of our program as rapidly as possible. Just another reminder to you radio listeners. Send in your sets of 4 statements each before Thursday midnight, accompanied with a chocolate Milky Way wrapper, addressed to Dr. IQ, Chicago, Illinois. And now, Donald Dowd, please, on my right downstairs.
I have a gentleman here, Doctor.
$7, sir, for 1 correct answer to this 2-part question. And $17 if you get both correctly. Number 1. What is a baby elephant called?
Don't know that one, Doctor.
All right, here you still have a chance at $7. What is a baby camel called?
Imagine it's called a camel.
I'm very sorry, sir. A baby elephant's called a calf, and a baby camel is called a foal or a colt. Give the gentleman a box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater, Daughters Courageous. Gene Rouse in the center aisle.
Yes, Doctor. I have a lady here.
$7 for this one, please, ma'am. Just what is a stereoscope used for? A stereoscope. Just what is it used for?
Well, I think it's to listen to the heart or...
Oh, I'm sorry. I believe you're thinking of a stethoscope. You see, a stereoscope is an optical instrument which blends 2 pictures into 1 image. In the years gone by, don't you remember? Many parlors used to have one. Remember now? Give the lady a box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater. Len Brandt, please.
I have a gentleman here, Doctor.
$24 for this one, sir. The name of the royal family of England was changed by proclamation in 1917 to Windsor. Now, what was the name before the change, sir? 10 seconds. I'm sorry, sir. It was Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. Give the gentleman a box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater. Norm Barry.
Yes, Doctor. I have a young lady here.
$11 for this one, and it's of current interest. I wonder if she could tell me who is the secretary of the Communist Party in Russia.
Stalin.
$11 to that young lady.
Congratulations.
Ruth Gustafson, 4440 Drexel.
Thank you. That's quite interesting. Many people think of him as the president. All right, Bob Brown.
I have a gentleman here, Doctor.
$13 for this one, sir, in 10 seconds. If you were to climb, to reach the top of Mont Blanc, you would be on top of the highest peak of what mountain range?
The Sierra.
I'm sorry, sir. It would be the Alps. Give the gentleman 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater and a box of chocolate Milky Ways. All right, Donald Dowd.
Yes, Doctor. I have a lady here, sir.
$9 for this. I'll make it $11. Just for the fun of it, if you can tell me what the S in Ulysses S. Grant stands for. Ten seconds, please. I'm sorry, it would be Simpson. His full name was Ulysses Simpson Grant. Give the lady a box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater. All right, Gene Rouse.
Yes, Doctor. I have a gentleman here.
I wonder if this gentleman could tell me for $11 the difference between a tangerine and a nectarine. No coaching now. Go right ahead, sir. A tangerine and a nectarine, $11.
I can't tell you.
Well, a tangerine's a small orange with an easily detached rind. In other words, it's from the citrus family. And a nectarine is a smooth-skinned variety of the peach. However, 2 tickets to that gentleman and a box of chocolate Milky Way. Len Brandt.
I have a lady here, Doctor.
I wonder if this lady could tell me for $7 silver of all the territories or states of the United States, which is the largest? No coaching, please. 5 seconds. The largest of our territories or states. What's that?
Texas.
I'm sorry, it would be Alaska. 586,400 square miles, including the Aleutian Islands, more than twice the size of Texas. A box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production to the lady. Norm Barry, please.
Yes, Doctor. I have a gentleman here.
$24 for this one, sir. What were the first 2 names of General Goethals, the man who directed the construction of the Panama Canal? The first 2 names.
George. I don't know the second.
Go ahead now, try. You have the first name.
No, I don't know that one.
What would you say the initial was?
A.
I'm sorry, I was going to pay you if you had that initial right there. It was George Washington, sir. Give the gentleman a box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater. Bob Brown.
I have a lady here, Doctor.
I wonder if this lady could tell me for $9 silver. Sofia, S-O-F-I-A, or Sofia, is the capital of what country?
No, I know. I can't tell.
10
sorry,
seconds.
I don't know.
It would be Bulgaria. A box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production to the lady. Donald Dowd, please.
I have a gentleman here, Doctor.
I wonder if this gentleman could tell me for $11 silver. If candle light is the light from a candle, then just what kind of light is cannel, C-A-N-N-E-L light?
Oh, I don't know that one.
I'm sorry, sir. It'll be the light from cannel coal. A coal of fine texture, making a very bright flame. You've probably used it from time to time. A box of chocolate Milky Ways and 2 tickets to next week's production here at the Chicago Theater to that gentleman. All right, Gene Rouse.
Yes, Doctor, I have a lady here.
$23 to this lady. If you saw a United States Army man with an insignia of a caduceus, C-A-D-U-C-E-U-S, to what branch of the Army would you know he belonged?
Medical?
$23 to that lady.
Thank you very much. Could we have your name and address, please?
Jane Spotswood, Rockford, Illinois.
Thank you and congratulations. All right, Glenn Bratt.
I have a gentleman here, Doctor.
Now, sir, for $7, if a baseball pitcher can pitch almost as well left-handed as he can right-handed, would you call him ambidextrous?
I certainly would.
Well, I don't believe I would. You see, ambidextrous means he must absolutely have equal skill with both hands. Not almost as good. However, 2 tickets to that gentleman at next week's production, Daughters Courageous, here at the Chicago Theater, and a box of chocolate Milky Ways. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for my part, I wish to sincerely thank you. And on behalf of our sponsor, Mars Incorporated, I present Alan C. Anthony.
We bring to a close another half hour with Dr. IQ, the mental banker. Remember to mail your 3 sets of right and wrong statements to Dr. IQ before midnight Thursday in order to be eligible for the awards of from $50 to $150 to be given next Monday night. Just address Dr. IQ, Chicago, Illinois. In the meantime, treat your family to the pleasure of having a box of Milky Ways on hand in the refrigerator. A box of Milky Ways doesn't cost very much, and the whole family will find it surprisingly convenient and enjoyable to always have Milky Ways on hand. You know, one pleasant thing about this good candy is that Milky Ways are as wholesome and nourishing as they are enjoyable. And so often throughout the day, you will be surprised to find how quickly a Milky Way that has just been chilled in the refrigerator will refresh you physically and revive your spirits pleasantly. With each bite, the cold, crisp milk chocolate coating, the layer of creamy caramel, and the chilled center of chocolate nougat, flavored with real malted milk, blend into that delightful taste you will find only in a Milky Way. Just taste it. That's all we ask. The Dr. IQ program, sponsored by Mars Incorporated, makers of Milky Way, will be heard again next Monday from the stage of the Chicago Theater in Chicago at the same time and over these same stations through the National Broadcasting Company.
There they go! Well, what do you know? It's win, place, or show.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's radio's newest thrill-packed racetrack game, Win, Place, or Show. The odds are posted and the ponies are champing at their bits. And now, here's America's #1 turf tout and our own personal handicap, Eddie Marr.
Hello, suckers. You like to lay some lettuce on the nose of an egg? You say you need some ready cash. You say you'd like to win some dough. Think no more about it, chums. Tell you what I'm going to do. Well, folks, I've got the latest dope on all an egg, so take my tips and pick a winner. I see our jockeys have already been chosen, so let's go. It's win, place, or show. Now, here's how it works. You contestants or jockeys pick the horse you like from the names and odds posted up there on the tote board. The name of the horse will indicate what the questions will be about, and the odds will give you an inkling as to how tough they are to answer. Naturally, the bigger the odds, the harder the questions. So after picking your horse, it's up to you to decide whether to go for win, place, or show. You must answer all 3 questions right for win money, 2 for place money, or 1 for show money. However, after choosing your position, You must bring your horse home in that position or better. In any case, you only get paid for the position you choose. If you lose, the posted odds on that horse go to the person who sent in the question. But win, place, show, or lose, you still get a chance at the $50 American handicap at the end of the show. Call to post in the face event, so let's meet our first jockey.
And here she is, Eddie, ready to ride home a winner, Mary Stevens.
How do you do, Mrs. Stevens?
How do you do?
Welcome to Win Place a Show. Step right up in front of the rail. Where are you from, Mrs. Stevens?
Indiana.
Indiana. What are you doing out here? Are you here on a vacation or a trip or a honeymoon
Oh, no,
or what?
I'm making costumes for the Ice Follies.
You are making costumes for the Ice Follies. When does the Ice Follies open here in town?
August.
In August. In August?
In August.
I see. How long does it take you to make the costumes?
Oh, about 4 months.
And how many costumes do you have to make?
Oh, runs about $45,000 or $50,000. I don't know. Some of the sets has 36 costumes in it, and we have about 15 or 20 sets.
Uh-huh. How many girls with the Ice Follies this year that you have to make all those costumes for?
I don't know that.
You don't
There's
know?
about 21 of us making them now.
21 of you making the costumes.
Yeah.
How long have you been out here? Is this your home now, or do you still live in Indiana?
Yes, this is my home. I've been here for about 35 years.
35 years. Do you think you'll stay?
I think I will.
You think you will? Have you taken a look at the tote board up there, Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
And what horse do you think you could ride home in the winner's circle this evening?
Drip, I think.
You think you could ride Drip? Drip, Mrs. Stevens, pertains to coffee. It pays $20 to win, $16 for place, and $15 for show. What do you know about Drip's, coffee, Mrs. Stevens?
Well,
do you drink much of it?
Not so much. I don't drink it very strong.
You don't drink it very strong?
No.
With milk,
No, plain.
Just plain, without
Just
sugar
plain.
or anything?
No sugar, no cream, nothing.
That's the way you like it?
That's the way.
Well, if you want to applaud for Mrs. Stevens drinking coffee just plain, go ahead. Nobody's stopping you. How long have you been drinking coffee, Mrs. Stevens?
Oh, about 50 years.
Would you say that it keeps you awake at night or that it just helps to?
Well, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't know where it's the coffee or where it's because I have a good time and get kind of nervous when I'm out.
Did you have any coffee to drink before you came in here, Mrs. Stevens?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
And you're just a little bit nervous. Is that the idea?
Well, I don't know, am I?
Well, if you think you're a little bit nervous or not so nervous, where do you think you could ride this horse? To win, place, or show? It pays $20 to win, $16 for place, and $15 for show.
Well, I don't know about that. I haven't rode a horse for a long time, so I don't know what I might do.
Well, I'll tell you what you do, Mrs. Stevens. You decide where you'd like to ride the horse, then give the horse a little shot of coffee, make him nervous, and you might be able to ride home to win.
Yes, he might be all good.
So where do you think you'd like to ride him? To win, to place, or to show?
Well, I better ride him to win, maybe.
You better ride him to win. All right, win is $20. These questions were sent in by Mrs. Robert Cassidy of Inglewood, California. You're going out to win, Mrs. Stevens. That means you must answer 3 questions out of 3 to ride home in the money. Yeah. Okay, you're at the post office. First question. What kind of coffee is Cafe au lait?
Cafe au lait?
Yes. Take your time. Think about it now.
Well, I don't... Is that Postum?
No, it's a coffee, but we on the continent call it cafe. It's cafe. What kind of coffee is cafe au lait?
Well, I don't know, unless that's coffee that's got a little bit of brandy in it.
No, I'm sorry. What do you get from a cow?
Milk.
Well,
cream. Coffee with cream in it.
Well, it's coffee with, and as soon as it comes out of the cow, what is it? Warm, hot, cold, lukewarm, or what?
It's hot.
It's,
Well, warm. Warm.
So,
warm.
what is coffee au lait?
Warm.
Warm what?
Warm coffee?
No.
Warm milk?
It's coffee with what?
Warm milk in it.
Mrs. Stevens, you've got that horse a nervous wreck. Now, you're one length ahead of the rest of the field. You've simply got to bring him in. You're going down the back stretch. Here is your next question. What kind of coffee is Cafe Brule? B-R-U-L-E.
Oh, my lands. Such names.
Here, take a look at the card. There it is right there. What is it?
Served with brandy.
Oh, you're so All right, now you've had my two laces going down the back stretch, and here's your next question. What kind of coffee is Cafe Noire?
Oh, my lands. There you go again. I never heard those names.
Do you know it? Do you know it? This horse is going to fall down dead if you don't hurry up.
That's just what he's going to do, I'm afraid.
You don't know it,
Is
huh?
that black coffee?
No, it is black coffee. Mrs. Stevens, you brought that nervous horse home under the wire to win that money. Our thanks to Mrs. Robert Castle of Inglewood, California, and you get a chance at the American Handicap at the end of the show.
Eddie, Eddie, I'd like you to meet Bob Alden, who wants to ride home with the money, too.
How do you do, Bob? Welcome to Win Place Show. Where you from?
Canton, Ohio, Eddie.
Canton, Ohio. What are you doing out here, Bob?
Well, I'm doing a little acting in pictures, do a little writing.
You do a little writing and a little acting in pictures. How do you find time to do both?
Well, there's plenty of time when you're acting in pictures.
I see. You have a little service button on your coat lapel there. You were in the service?
Yeah, the Navy.
What, in the Navy?
That's right.
How long were you in the service?
A very short time, 4 months.
A very short time, 4 months? What did you do?
I was in ship's company down at San Diego Naval Training Station.
And now you're out. You are writing and doing a little acting on the side.
That's right.
Which do you find the most profitable?
Well, right now, acting.
You find acting most profitable?
Yes, my first writing venture hasn't done too well yet.
Uh-huh. Well, as far as the acting is concerned, if it's very profitable, I would like to talk to you after the show and find out where some of this money is. Have you taken a look at the tote board up there, Bob?
Yes, I have.
Whoa. I asked
pardon
the
me.
question.
Yes,
you know
that's
how
right.
that's it. Well, what horse do you think you could ride home with the winner's circle this evening?
I'm a try ball and chain.
You're going to try ball and chain. Ball and chain, Bob, pertains to wives. It pays $40 to win, $28 for place, and $22 for show. Are you married, Bob?
Not yet. That's why I'm taking ball and chain. I may learn something about wives here.
That's why you pick ball and chain? You may learn something.
Yes.
Well, then, if you're not married, you evidently don't know anything about wives. Is that correct? You don't have one of your own?
Not yet.
All right. There's nothing I can tell you where to ride this horse. You'll have to be your own jockey and make your own decision. Now, where do you think you could ride it? To win, to place, or to show? 40 to win, 28 for place, 22 for show.
Well, since it's a long shot, I might as well try place.
Since it's a long shot, you think you'll try place. Place is $28. These questions were sent in by Mr. Albert Reeves of Pasadena, California. Bob, you're going out to place. That means you must answer 2 questions out of 3 to ride home with the geese. Okay, you'll wait the post office. I said around first straight. Here's the first question. Whose wife was Anne Hathaway? Shh.
If I don't get that one, I'll be slow.
Give you 5, Bob. 1, 2.
I'll have to pass it.
You'll have to pass it. Anne Hathaway was the wife of Shakespeare. You are behind by 1 length. You're going down the back stretch, and here is your next question. Whose wife is called the First Lady of the Land?
The President.
The President is absolutely correct. All right, Bob, you're neck and neck. You're trading for home. You're coming into the home stretch under the wire, and here's your next question. Catherine of Aragon was the first wife of who?
Henry VIII.
Henry VIII is absolutely correct. Bob, you went out to place. You brought the horse home in opposition. You get the $28. Our thanks to Mr. Reeves, and you get a chance at the American Handicap at the end of the show.
And here is jockey number 3, Eddie, Elizabeth Barksdale.
How do you do, Miss Barksdale? Welcome to Win Place, a show. Step right up in front of the rail. You're not nervous, are you?
Why should I be?
There's... You are right, Miss Barksdale. There is no reason you should be. Where are you from, Miss Barksdale?
San Antonio, Texas, but now I'm living in Phoenix, Arizona.
San Antonio, Texas.
That's where I was born.
In San Antonio, Texas.
Yes.
Very lovely town.
It certainly is.
And now you're living in where? Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona.
And would you like to tell us what you're doing here?
Well, I'm here with my parents hunting antiques for a week.
You're
We're
here
leaving
with
Monday.
your parents who are what?
Hunting antiques. They're
Oh,
in the
hunting!
antique room.
I have a wooden ear here. Do you go to school, Miss Barksdale?
Yes, I do. I go to North Phoenix High School.
What do you study at North Phoenix High School?
Oh, just about everything.
Just about everything? No particular subjects?
No, but I'm just taking a regular college course because I want to go to Baylor's University.
And when do you expect to graduate?
Oh, I hope pretty soon.
You hope pretty soon. All right, if you take a look at the tote board up there.
Yes, I think I want Snoopers.
You think you want Snooper. Snooper pertains to clues. It pays $30 to win, $25 per place, and $20 per show. What do you know about clues? Have you, do you read much detective stories, Miss Barksdale?
No, but I'm interested in criminology.
You're interested in criminology? Uh-huh. Then if you're interested in criminology, Miss Barksdale, there's perhaps nothing I could tell you. If you know all about those clues, you can follow them around. That, Sherlock Holmes, you know, with that business. Where do you think it could bring this horse home? To win, to place, or to show? It pays $30 to win, $25 per place, and $20 to show. Where do you think it could ride the horse? You think it could ride the horse for show? $20. Very conservative bet. $20 is a sure thing. These questions were sent in by Mrs. Wilma Wacker of Union, New Jersey. You're going out to show, Miss Barksdale. That means you must only answer one question out of 3 to ride home in the money. Okay, you'll wait the post office. First question. The clues to these names lie in the manner in which they met their deaths. I'll give you the clue. You name the person. Your first question. Who met his death due to drinking a cup of hemlock?
Was he European or an actor or what?
You don't know it?
No, I don't think so.
All right, I'll tell you who he was. Socrates met his death by drinking a cup of hemlock. You're behind my one left. You go down the back stretch. Here is your next question. This historical glamour girl met her death due to the bite of an asp. Who was she? She was a glamour girl way back.
Jean,
You don't know it, Miss Barksdale? No. All right, I'll tell you who it was. It was Cleopatra. Now you're behind by 2 lanes. You're turning for home, coming down the home stretch under the wire. And here's your next question. This ancient died from being shot in the heel with an arrow. Who was it?
Robin Hood?
No, I'm sorry, Miss Barksdale. It was Achilles. Achilles was shot in the heel with an arrow. I'm sorry, Miss Barksdale. You went out to show. The $20 goes to Mrs. William Wacker of Union, New Jersey. But you do get a chance at the American handicap at the end of the show.
Eddie, before we spring the barrier on our next jockey, a reminder about questions from the folks in the bleachers.
Go ahead, John.
Thank you. Remember, you listeners can now play your own entry for a chance at one of the purses passed out here on Win, Place, or Show. All you need to do is send in 3 questions in the same general subject, along with the right answers. Now, if your questions are entered, you'll get whatever odds the contestant tries for if he misses. So mail in those questions to Win, Place, or Show, American Broadcasting Company, Hollywood 28, California. Send as many groups as you like, 3 questions to a group on the same general subject. Now, we reserve the right to edit the questions and to determine the odds. But after sending in your questions, keep listening, because your questions may be entered several weeks after we receive them. And now, Eddie, our next jockey, Lee Edmond.
How do you do, Miss Edmond? Welcome to Win, Place, or Show. Step right up in the front of the rail. Would you like to take your hands out of your pocket, Miss, or are you holding your money in there?
No.
Where are you from, Miss Edmond?
Bellflower, California.
Bellflower, California. Did you say you were in the service?
I am, yes.
You are in the service now? Speak up, shout up in a big, loud voice.
Yes, I am.
What branch of the service are you in, Miss Edmond?
The Waves.
In Waves. How, well, all right, and I can't... How long have you been in the service, Miss Edmond?
Since June the 15th, 1943.
Since June the 15th, 1943. This coming June, you'll be in 3 years. Is that right?
That's
My
right.
God, now look how I answer those questions. What did you do before you went in the service?
Well, I was working at an aircraft plant.
What were you doing?
Not much of anything.
Is that why we had all that absenteeism? Because you weren't doing anything?
Well, I thought I'd get in the Navy and then I'd have a good excuse for
And
it.
then you wouldn't do anything either. I see. What do you expect to do after you get out of the service, Miss Edmond?
Same thing, nothing.
Well, that's what I like, a girl with ambition. Have you take a look at the tote board, Miss Edmond?
I like Big Shot.
You think you could ride Big Shot? Big Shot pertains to famous men. It pays $25 to win, $18 for place, and $16 for show. What do you know about famous men, Miss Edmond? Being in the service, you should know something about them. Nothing at all?
Nothing at all.
Well, if you don't know anything, you say you know nothing about famous men, you say you don't know anything, tell you what I'm going to do. If you don't know anything about famous men, you might not be able to ride this horse home to win or to place, but you might be able to ride it home for the last position. What do you think you should do?
Place.
You're going for place. Place pays, let me see, place pays $18. All right, these questions were sent in by Jerome Percheski of Watsonville, California. You're going out for place, Miss Edmond. That means you must answer 2 questions out of 3 to ride home with the keys. It's okay, you'll wait the post office case around face first question. You know the names of these big shots, but do you know their middle name? Henry Wallace. Never mind looking at them, because if they tell you, I shall have to disqualify you. The middle name of Henry Wallace.
All I think of is Edgar.
No, it's Agar. A-G-A-R. I'm sorry, Miss Emma, you're behind by 1 length. You're going down the back stretch. Here is your next question. Dwight Eisenhower. Dwight Eisenhower, his middle name. You went for place. If you missed this one.
Yes, I know.
All right, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll drop that for just a second. We'll go back and catch another one. Give me the middle name of Winston Churchill. You know that one?
I do, yes.
You do? I'll give you 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, 5.
Can't think of anything, I'm sorry.
Leonard. And the middle name of Dwight Eisenhower is David. I'm sorry, Miss Evans, you went out the place. You didn't answer the questions. The money goes to Mr. Pacheski of Watsonville, California. But you do get a chance to the American Handicap at the end of the show.
Ed Colby, I'd like you to meet America's #1 racetrack tout, Eddie Marr.
How do you do, Mr. Colby? Welcome to Win Place, a show. Step right up in front of the rail. I see you have a Navy uniform on. What branch of the service you in, Mr. Colby?
Navy?
Speak
Navy.
up. Navy. That was a joke.
Son?
How long have you been in the service, Mr. Colby?
12 years.
12 years. What is your particular job in the service? What do you do?
I'm a chief radio man.
A chief radio man?
That's
Would you
right.
like to tell us something about that job? Folks, I'm home and sure like to know what you do there.
Just operating radio transmitters and receivers.
Uh-huh. What did you do before you went in the service 12 years ago?
Nothing.
Well, they have marvelous jobs in that service. Nobody ever does anything.
I was a baby.
You were a baby before you went in the service? Well, what'd you think I was born 40 years old? I grew up like this. What do you expect? Do you intend to stay in the Navy, I presume? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you intend to make that your career?
Yes, sir.
Is that right? Where are you stationed now?
San Diego, Fleet Sound School.
Fleet Sound School in San Diego.
That's right.
And how do you like it down there?
It's all right. Nothing to brag about.
Nothing to brag about, but it's okay. And you're going to make it your career. Good luck to you, Mr. Colby. You should be a cinch to become head admiral or something else in the Navy. Admiral. Just plain admiral, not head admiral or anything like that. Just plain admiral. Have you taken a look at the tote board, Mr. Colby?
Yes, I have.
And what horse do you think you could bring home in the winner's circle this evening?
Batty.
You think you could bring Batty home in the winner's circle? Batty pertains to bats. It pays $15 to win, $12 for place, and $10 for show. Did you ever play baseball or badminton or anything like that?
Yes, sir.
And you did?
Yes.
They have bats in that game, don't they?
I believe so.
That's right. Well, these questions have nothing to do with those games. Now, where do you think you could ride this horse, Mr. Colby? To win, to place, or to show? It pays $15 to win, $12 for place, and $10 for show.
To win.
You think you will ride him to win? 15. That's what I like about the Navy. Always out to win. Well, come on. What are you going to get? That's right, Mr. Colby. If they don't applaud you, wave them on and make them applaud for you. These questions on Batty were sent in by Laura Pangborn of Long Beach, California. You're going out to win, Mr. Colby. That means you must answer 3 questions out of 3 to ride home in the money. Okay, you're right. The post down, face to face, stand around, face, heavy space question. What kind of a bat would you say is a fight? What kind of a bat would you call a fight?
A boxing bat.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Colby. It is a combat. A fight is combat. I'm sorry, Mr. Colby, you went out to win. You lost the first question. The money you went for goes to Miss Laura Pangborn of Long Beach, but you do get a chance at the American Handicap at the end of the show.
And here's our sixth writer, Eddie, Fletcher Bard.
How do you do, Mr. Bard? Welcome to Win Place's show. What branch of the service you in, Mr. Bard?
Marine Corps.
And how long have you been in the service?
About 5.5 years.
5.5 years. Do you expect to get out soon?
Well, I have this little thing buttoned right on my coat.
You have the little thing on your coat. That
Yes,
means
sir,
you're
I'm out now.
discharged. Have you taken a look at the tote board?
Yes.
And what horse do you... What horse do you think you could ride home in the winner's circle this evening?
I think there's one left.
You think there's one left? He's a very nervous horse, and he's going to make it. What is it? What's the name of that horse?
Last word.
Lost word is right. It means double meanings. It pays $10 to win, $9 for place, and $8 for show. Where do you think you could ride this horse, Mr.
Oh, I think we can show on this one.
You think you can show on that one? Show is for $8. These questions were sent in by H.P. Wortman of Hollywood, California. You're going out to show, Mr. Bart, and that means you only have to answer one question out of 3 to ride home in the welcome. Okay, you'll wait in the post town past the grandstand around the first turn, and here is your first question. Now, Mr. Bart, many words have double meanings. Here are 3 couples, each pair having one thing which can be expressed in one word. For example, a bird and an airplane. The answer would be wings. Very simple. All right. You're waiting the post down past the grandstand around the first turn, and here is your first question. One word expresses a duck and what the postman brings you on the 1st of the month.
Bill.
A bill is absolutely correct. All right. You have answered your one question. You get the $8. Our thanks to Mr. Wortman. Well, all right, we'll ask him the rest and just see how simple it was if he'd have gone out to win. What kind of a house is built? What is a house built on, and more than just a few? What is a house built on, and there's more than just a few of them?
Lots.
A lot to see. Very simple. And here's your next question. A pungent herb, and also a place where money is printed.
Mint.
Would have been very simple if you'd have gone to win, but you only went for show. That means you get the $8. Thanks to H.P. Wortman of Hollywood, California, and you qualify for the American Handicap, which we're going to do in just a second.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Win Placer's show is sending the following checks to you rocking chair jockeys out there in the bleachers. $20 to Mrs. Wilma Wacker of Union, New Jersey, $15 to Laura Pangborn, Long Beach, California, and a check for $18 to Jerome Perchesky, Watsonville, California.
Well, folks, the big moment has arrived, the event everyone has been waiting for, the American Handicap. The contestants are all lined up at the barrier. They're wearing jockey caps, riding hobby horses, and wearing a sign bearing the name of their horse. Now I have a list of questions. As I call out the questions, the first contestant to shout out the name of his or her horse gets a chance at the answer. If the answer is right, that jockey moves one length forward. Whoever crosses the finish line first, or whoever is ahead at the bell ending the race, wins the American Handicap purse of $50. Now, a word of caution to you jockeys. Be sure you know the right answer before shouting out your horse's name. For if you win the chance to answer a question and you answer it wrong, you are disqualified and sent back to the barn. In case of tie, duplicate prizes will be awarded. Okay, the horses are all lined up at the post, and they're off, and here we go with the American Handicap questions. Now, don't forget, folks, if you know the answer to the question, shout out your horse's name, and you'll get a chance to answer the question. Here is your first one. Would you call a goblet an undersized sailor? Ball and Chain thinks he knows it?
No.
What? All right. What is a goblet?
The drinking...
You are absolutely correct. Ball and Chain, written by Mr. Bob Alden, gets away from that post very fast. He's on the rail in the leading position. And here is your next question. What stands under the spreading chestnut tree? Ball and Chain says he knows it.
The village smithy.
The village smithy is absolutely right. That Ball and Chain is very hot. He is now two lengths ahead of Lost Word, Batty, Big Shot, Snooper, and Drip. All right. Here is your next question. In baseball, do the players run the bases clockwise or counterclockwise? Counterclockwise is absolutely correct. Lost Word answered that question, written by Mr. Fletcher Bard. Breaks away from that rail. Breaks away from the rail. He is now one length behind. Ball and Chain, written by Mr. Bob Alden, with Batty, Big Shot, Snooper, and Drip still at the post. Here is your next question. Does a centenarian run clockwise or counterclockwise? Big Shot thinks she knows it.
old man, I believe.
You are right. A centenarian is a 100-year-old man, and that big shot breaks away from that post very fast. She is now neck and neck with Lost Word, written by Mr. Fletcher Bard, with Batty, Snooper, and Drip still left at the post. Now, here, according to the poem, what happened to Casey at the bat? Big shot thinks she knows it.
He struck out.
He struck out is absolutely correct. Oh, look at that big shot. Look at that big shot comes from way behind. Big shot, written by Miss Lee Edmond, is now neck and neck with Ball and Chain, written by Mr. Bob Alden, with Lost Word, Batty, Snooper, and Drip still at the post. All right, here is your next question. How long would you usually wait for the light to change at a stop sign? Lost Word thinks she knows it.
30 seconds.
I'm sorry, you would wait there forever. The light doesn't change on a stop sign, it changes on a stop signal. All right. Here is your next question. Who are credited with always getting their man? Ball and Chain thinks he knows it.
The Canadian Mounties.
He is absolutely correct. The Canadian Mounties. Ball and Chain, written by Mr. Bob Alden, takes one step out ahead of Big Shot, written by Lee Edmonds, with Batty, Snooper, and Drip still at the post. Now, where was John Brown hanged? Batty thinks he knows it.
By the neck.
You are absolutely right. Batty is right. Batty is right. He said he was hung by the neck. We have two answers, Charleston, Virginia, or around the neck. Oh, that Batty gets away from the post, written by Mr. Ed Colby. Now we have Ball and Chain, written by Bob Alden, one length ahead of Big Shot, written by Lee Edmond, with Batty one length behind her, with Snooper and Drip still at the post. And there goes the bell, ending tonight's American Handicap with Ball and Chain. Ball and Chain, written by Mr. Bob Alden, is led into the winner's circle. They place the wreath around his neck. How much did you win this evening, Mr. Alden?
$78, Eddie.
$78. Did you have a hard race, Mr. Alden?
That was a lot of fun.
You had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Do you think you would ever like to ride in such a close race again? You know, that Big Shot written by Lee Edmonds was right behind you and almost came up neck and neck if you hadn't answered that last question.
I could feel a hot breath down my neck.
You could feel the hot breath on the neck. Take that $50 there, Mr. Alden. And here we go, folks. Well, the old racetrack is taking its last whipping for tonight. Next week, we'll be right back here at the paddock leaning on the same old rail, passing out a few more tips. Until then, so long, suckers. See ya at the races.
Win, Place, or Show, starring Eddie, Tell You What I'm Going to Do More, is produced and directed by Dwight Hauser, and will return next week at the same time over most of these same ABC stations. If you're in or near the Los Angeles area and you'd like to join us in the Sport of Kings, write Win, Place, or Show, American Broadcasting Company, Hollywood 28, California, and tickets will be mailed. Remember, send in your questions, 3 to a group on the same general subject. Then join us again next week when the ponies go to post for you to win, place, or show. Fenneman speaking.
Information, please. Wake up, America. Time to stump the experts. And now, our master of ceremonies, Clifton Fadiman.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, our two regulars, John Kieran and Franklin P. Adams, with the distinguished lecturer and editor of the Saturday Review of Literature and man of letters, Mr. John Mason Brown, and the well-known actor of stage, screen, and radio, Mr. Boris Karloff. We're going to begin, gentlemen, with a question from Lieutenant Commander Owen Wheeler of Stillwater, Oklahoma. And he wants you to get 2 out of 3 on this interesting question. All of the parts of the question have to do with spring, which is not far behind now. What is described as spring or neap? Something which is described as spring or neap. I have 3 hands. Mr. Adams.
Tides.
Tides, right. Very good. Perfectly correct. And now all I want you to do, Mr. Adams, is tell us what spring and neap tides are. Or spring or neap tides.
A neap tide, I think, is an ebb tide.
And a spring tide?
Au contraire.
Well, now, Frank, that's what I would have thought if I hadn't read this card just a couple of minutes
Maybe it's
ago.
the same thing.
No, it's not quite the same. Does anyone want to correct Mr. Adams's misimpression? Mr. Karloff.
Is it when the tide is in flood a bit?
Well, it's this. The spring tide is the one with the greatest extremes. That is, the high tide is very high and the low tide is very low, whereas the neap tide is the one with the least extremes. Is that at all clear? If it isn't, it's just too late to do anything about it.
That has to do with the position of the moon with regard to the sun. When they're
Exactly.
both on the same side, they have a greater attraction and flatten out the waters of the globe to that a greater extent. And when they're pulling one against the other, you get the neap tides.
Now, Adams, is that perfectly clear to you? Okay.
Never understood any of it.
That gives us spring and neap. Now, gentlemen, what is described as spring or winter? There's a certain object or thing that you use the term spring or winter, Mr. Karloff.
Is it wheat?
It is indeed, Mr. Karloff. Very good. And what is the difference between the two?
One, I imagine, is planted in the spring and the other in the winter.
Well, not quite. Almost that, Mr. Kieran.
One, the seed winters in the ground. The other, you sow in the spring.
Well, the winter is planted in the fall.
Well, yes, I say the seed winters in the ground.
That's right. And it survives the winter and continues growing in the spring. And as Mr. Karloff says, spring wheat is planted in the spring. And now, gentlemen, what is described as spring, buck, or rose? The three adjectives describe the same thing. Spring, buck, or rose, Mr. Adams.
Deer.
Spring deer, buck deer, and rose deer?
Rose.
Oh, rose. Yes, I see. Now, you're reaching for it.
A bevy of rose.
No, I don't think I can quite take that, Frank. Spring, buck, or rose? The answer is, gentlemen, Mr.
Fever.
Fever. Very good, Mr. Brown. Quite right. What is spring fever, Mr. Brown?
Can I say it over the radio? It's a kind of dreamy, Tennysonian feeling. It's laziness.
That's very prettily put. And buck fever, Mr. Brown? What is buck fever?
Shall I keep on?
Yes. You're doing beautifully.
Well, that's what it's sort of worse, isn't it?
Buck fever? No, it's a specific kind of fever that you feel under what conditions? Mr.
Fright.
When you go on this program.
Only for the first time, Mr. Karloff. Mr. Kieran?
It's a hunting term. You get it when you draw a bead on a buck to shoot him.
That's right.
You get a little bit nervous.
And finally, rose fever, Mr. Kieran?
Oh, that's something like hay fever. Only they leave it to the rose to cause the trouble in that case.
Yes, that's attributed to rose pollen. Well,
An allergy.
Yes, that's what isn't. Now try the next one from Thelma Ritter of Forest Hills. Get all on this, gentlemen. It has to do with dead bodies. According to the text of the following plays, how many bodies are on stage when the final curtain falls? In the case of Othello, as the final curtain falls, how many dead bodies are there on the stage? Mr. Brown.
I would say offhand 3 or 4.
Which one would you say offhand?
I would say Othello, Desdemona, Iago, and I think Emilia's killed too.
You've got one more dead body than we really
Emilia's
need.
still she's still vertical.
No. Mr. Kieran?
It's Iago who is still vertical.
Yes, Iago is vertical, Emilia is horizontal. Desdemona, Emilia, and Othello are the 3 dead bodies left at the end of Othello. I'm afraid we can't give you perfect credit on that one, John. You just gave us one corpse too many. Now, how about the next? In the case of Hamlet, count them up, gentlemen. How many dead bodies... Karloff, stop licking your chops that way, will you? Mr. Karloff.
3, I think. 4.
4. Yes,
4.
4 is right. Now, would you care to poke them a bit, Mr. Karloff? Stir them up and count them for us.
Gertrude and Claudius, Hamlet and Laertes.
Yes, that's perfectly right. Yes, you see...
Saw the play the other night.
Yes, that's very good, Mr. Karloff. And, gentlemen, in the case of Macbeth, as the final curtain falls, how many bodies are there on the stage? Be careful. How many bodies are there on the... Mr. Kieran.
I don't think there are any.
That's exactly right.
There is a head. Macbeth's head. Macduff brings it in and shakes it in triumph.
Only they never bring it in.
They don't bring it in.
Well, Shakespeare did.
Yeah.
You know, John, we ought to arrange a special performance for Karloff in which they brought in the head.
His head?
No, not his, but Macbeth's head. Give the boy a thrill. Well, we did only 2 out of 3 on that. We were supposed to get all. That sends a $100 victory bond to Miss Ritter and a set of the Encyclopedia Britannica. Now, gentlemen, try this one from Rosa N. Morgan. Again, get all. In what century and by whom were these channel crossings made? And I'm going to give you the dates. The dates sound a little alike, not quite alike. In 66. What century and by whom? 66. Mr. Karloff.
Made by William the Conqueror.
That's exactly right. What century?
The 11th.
Yes, the exact date, therefore, would be
1066.
That is very good deductive reasoning. Mr. Adams, what do you have to add to that?
Same thing.
Okay.
It was in October.
It was in October. What day?
About the 25th or 28th, I forgot. 25th, I should say, wasn't it?
He landed on September 28th.
28th. Well,
and
didn't spit that
the
out.
Battle of Hastings was when, Mr. Brown? Very important in English history. And
Well, that was almost immediately thereafter.
Yes.
Thereafter, and he got
right.
to London in time to be crowned at Westminster on Christmas Day.
Yes. Matter of fact, we're celebrating his
coronation
yes,
tonight.
Exactly. He defeated Harold at Hastings on October 14th. That was what happened in 66, as Mr. Karloff tells us. Now, in 55, what channel crossing was made, what century, and by whom? 55. This isn't so easy. Mr. Adams, are you running those channel crossings through your head?
No. Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Was it Julius Caesar?
That's right. Very good,
And
Mr.
it
Brown.
would be the, let me see, it's the 1st century B.C.
Yes, it would be 55 B.C. There's another expedition after that, I think, several others. And finally, in what century and by whom was a channel crossing made in 44? We've had 66, 55, and now 44. Mr. Kieran?
By Eisenhower forces.
And by Admiral Kirk.
Yes, yes, indeed. I should say that Admiral Kirk is Mr. Brown's old boss, and he never forgets it. Yes, June 6, 1944, D-Day, the Great Allied Invasion. Well, we did very well on that one, gentlemen. Try this from Mrs. John G. Rolfe of New York City. Get 2 out of 3 on this. Where, in fiction or drama, does a woman get out of an unhappy marriage through the following subterfuges? In the first case, she gets out of a marriage by failing to give her husband some medicine. She fails to give him. Mr. Brown.
In the Little Foxes.
Exactly right. Yes, what's the situation there, Mr. Brown?
The husband has a bad heart and needs medicine. He's at the head of the stairs, and Miss Tallulah Bankhead, as that character, refuses to give him the pills in time.
Yes, that's a very thrilling scene, too. The author of the play?
Is Miss Lillian Hellman.
Lillian Hellman, yes. And what, I think this is a play, too. In what play does a woman get out of an unhappy marriage? By giving her husband poison instead of medicine. Gives him poison instead of medicine. Mr. Brown?
Morning Becomes Electra.
Yes, very good. That's quite right.
And that is Mrs. Mannon, I believe.
I don't know the name.
Yeah, anyway, Nazimova played it.
Many, many years ago, was that?
Not so long
No?
ago, was that?
Are you just ruminating over these things, Mr. Karloff? Are they giving you any ideas?
I don't care for poisoning much.
Don't care for poisoning. You find this question a bit dull. Well, you wait a minute. We'll get on to something more gory. And finally, in what novel does a woman get out of her marriage by taking poison herself? And I, for one, am very glad to see the last of her at the end of that novel. Which one is that? Mr. Karloff.
I think it's a thing. It's a thing called. I think it was Leave It to Heaven. Her to Heaven.
Leave Her to Heaven. I don't remember it.
By Ben Williams.
Is a poisoning in it?
There is.
Oh, I don't know that novel. I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Karloff. By Ben Ames Williams.
Then we
I
can
haven't read
assume
the novel.
it's the correct answer.
I will assume it. Yes. Oh, how you wheedle me into it, Mr. Karloff. Mr. Brown.
Rebecca.
Of Sunnybrook Farm?
No, not of. No, of anything but. Didn't the heroine in Rebecca? Didn't Rebecca, actually, when she discovered that she had a malignant disease, when she had cancer, and he was accused of the murder, hadn't she taken some poison?
It sounds right. I haven't read the novel or seen the movie. I don't know. The one I was thinking of, though I have no doubt your answer is correct, Mr. Brown, is Flaubert's Madame Bovary, in which the famous heroine kills herself with poison at the end. We're going on now with a question from Mr. Edwin F. Edgett of Arlington, Massachusetts. Get 2 out of 3 on this. Identify the hero or heroine who destroyed the following number of people all at one time. All at one time. This perhaps should interest you a bit more, Mr. Karloff. Someone who killed 7 people at one time. Mr. Karloff.
That was the tailor.
Yes. Now you're beginning to show your teeth, Mr. Karloff. Yes, that's very good. Killed 7 at one blow.
At one blow,
yes. Where would you find this story?
I think in Grimm's fairy tales.
I think it is. Now, how about this is even better, someone who killed 1,000 at a single time, or approximately the same time. Mr. Kieran.
Samson.
Samson.
With
how
the
did he do that?
jawbone of an ass.
Yes. Slew 1,000 men therewith.
That's right.
Believe it?
Yep.
You do believe it, Mr. Adams.
Philistines.
All right. How about this? A hero or heroine who destroyed 37 at one time. This is tough.
37 people, this is.
37 people, that's quite right. 37 people. I'll entertain a wild guess. Mr. Kieran.
Well, would it have been in Gulliver's Travels?
No, John, not to the best of my
Well,
knowledge.
he
I
could have.
don't think so. No, it's in the...
Would it be Lucretia Borgia?
Yeah.
It's a wild guess.
I think she poisoned them gradually, Mr. Karloff. I don't think all at one time.
I thought she gave a dinner party or something.
Yes, but 37 makes an uneven number of guests, I think.
Could it be in mythology?
And something like it, John. It was in Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves.
Oh.
Remember, the slave, discovering that her master's guests are the robbers, boils them in big kettles of oil, 37 of them at one time. Well, that gives us 2 out of 3 and sends us on to this one from Glenn W. Calkins of Seattle, Washington. Let's get all on this. Not too hard a question. Recite the entire lines that include these words. And all of the phrases include the word serve. The first is, they also serve. Mr. Adams.
Who only stand and wait.
That's exactly right. And you're quoting Mr. Adams from what?
Sounds a little like Milton.
It is Milton. Not only sounds like him, but it was actually written by him. Darndest coincidence. Mr. Kieran, what were you going to tell us?
Just going to say, on his blindness.
Yes, a famous sonnet on his blindness. Now, here's another phrase. Twill serve. Twill serve. Mr. Kieran.
'Tis not so deep as a well, nor so wide as a church door, but 'twill serve. That was Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
That was speaking of the wound he had received from Tybalt.
Yes.
And it did serve.
You're almost exactly right, John. You left out one tiny phrase. Shall I give it to you?
But 'tis enough, 'twill serve?
Yes, but 'tis enough, 'twill serve. But that's approximately right. And finally, the phrase, we serve. Can you recite the entire line? We serve. We serve. We serve? Well, there are 2 possible answers that I have here. The first one is from Kipling's Tommy Atkins. Remember that one? The phrase is, I went into a public house to get a pint of beer. The publican he up and says, we serve no red coats
yes.
here. And there's another one from the British naval prayer from which the movie title, In Which We Serve, was taken. Well, that gives us only 2 out of 3, sending $100 in victory bonds to Mr. Calkins and a set of the Britannica. All right, try this. Name a play or movie, gentlemen, in which a president or a presidential candidate makes a speech from a train. This would be a play or movie from a train. Mr. Kieran.
Abe Lincoln, leaving Springfield.
Yes. The play itself was called Abe Lincoln in Illinois,
That's
I think,
right.
wasn't it, John? Who wrote it?
Robert Sherwood.
I'm going to change all of you for a dumb audience if you keep on doing that. Yes, sir, we're shooting dumb people who don't know the answers. You mustn't really tell them what the answers are.
Well, I saw the play, and I know Mr. Sherwood. I would have gotten around to it in time anyway.
I'm sure you would. All right. In what play or movie does a presidential candidate make a speech in Madison Square Garden? It's a play, I think, of some years ago. John, you were reviewing plays regularly at that time. I'm sure you saw it. Mr. Adams?
That might be another Abraham Lincoln show.
No, it wasn't. It was Mr. Brown.
I'd rather be right.
Well, it was the other one, Of Thee I Sing.
Of Thee I Sing.
But it's the same series, yes, the Jack Hawkaway Kaufman series. What play does I guess this is a movie. A president makes a speech in Congress. Mr. Brown again.
Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
Well, now, is he a president?
No, I beg your pardon. He's merely a senator.
He's Mr. Adams?
Wilson.
Woodrow Wilson.
Yes, Woodrow Wilson, the recent movie.
I beg your pardon, Mr.
A couple of years ago. And now, gentlemen, shall we go on with this one from Victoria Boyer of Canton, Ohio? And again, yet all. Identify the work of literature, gentlemen, in which a skull is handled by the following persons. In which a skull is handled by a prince. work. Mr. Karloff.
Hamlet.
Hamlet, indeed. Yes. Under what circumstances does he handle the skull?
At the graveside of Ophelia.
Yeah. Is Ophelia's graveside? And what are they doing there?
I think they must be digging a grave.
Well, they're just amusing themselves, digging up skulls. And Mr. Brown?
They're digging Ophelia's grave.
Digging Ophelia's grave. And can you remember any of the famous lines from that gravedigger scene? Mr. Kieran?
Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, a fellow of infinite fancy, of most excellent fancy, of infinite jest, etc.
Yes.
I knew him Horatio.
I knew him Horatio. And the rest of it is as Mr. Kieran.
And that is the scene that's left out of Mr. Evans' G.I. Hamlet.
Yes, why does he leave that out, Mr. Brown?
I don't know. Ophelia, and may I say, I'm old enough now just to be interested in the graveyard scene. That's one
You
of
and
my chief
Karloff.
interests in the play, but it's left out.
Well, I suppose it speeds up the play a good deal, leaving the gravedigger scene out. Mr. Kieran?
I think the GIs had enough of graveyards.
It's very possible that they did. Gentlemen, how about this? A work in which a skull is handled by a servant. Now, this is a story, a long, short story, in which a servant handles a skull. A skull is an important part of the plot. Mr. Karloff?
Is it a story called The Screaming Skull by Marion Crawford?
I don't know the one that screams, Mr. Karloff. Now, you have the advantage of me there. No, it's a much milder story. In fact, it's a story in which I don't think there's even a bit of a murder. It's a story called The Gold Bug by Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh.
And Mr. Kieran remembers that now.
Yes,
and
he
so does Mr. Brown.
drops the gold bug through the eye of the skull in order to locate the buried treasure.
Yes, who does?
Mr. Legrand.
And who finds the skull?
Well, he finds it stuck on a tree, as a matter of fact.
Yes, but who is it that finds it? Remember
you mean Jupiter?
Jupiter. Yes, the servant in the story. And finally, where would you find a skull being handled by a child? Famous work of literature, Mr. Karloff.
It's old Peterkin, at the Battle of something with Marlborough.
Yes. That's quite right. It's Blenheim.
Yeah.
Battle of Blenheim. And you're quoting or referring to Mr. Adams?
Southey.
Southey's famous poem. Some poor fellow's skull, said he, who fell in the great victory, and so forth. Now, gentlemen, try this one from Lieutenant Junior Grade Otto Becker, Care Fleet Post Office, San Francisco, California, and he would like you. This really is a little more up your line, Mr. Karloff. Quote 3 lines of poetry that describe different methods employed in committing murder. You may go as far as you wish, Mr. Karloff, here. Any form whatsoever will do. The gorier, the better. Mr. Adams, start us off.
Macbeth doth murder sleep.
That's murder in general. It is not a method of murder, exactly.
Oh, murdering sleep?
Mr. Kieran?
And I stirred it round and round and round, and I sniffed at the foaming froth when I up with his heels and smothered his squeals in the scum of the boiling broth.
Good.
That's a very good one, yes. By boiling, then.
That's
Will you?
right.
I must submit these answers to
That's
Mr.
by
Karloff.
W.S. Gilbert in The Rhyme of the Nancy Bill.
Yeah. Mr. Karloff, that is a legitimate method of murder, boiling?
Very good.
Very good. Mr. Brown.
I can't do the whole line, but I'm sure Mr. Adams can. It's the short chop on the big black block. It's the snickersnee.
Chipper, chipper, chopper.
Chipper, chopper.
Cheap and chipper chopper.
How does it
The
go?
snickersnee.
How does it go, Frank? Mr. Brown has certainly got something there. Short chop on the something block. Mr. Kieran?
Awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock from a chipper, chipper, chopper on a big black block.
Yes, that's very nice. And you're quoting from W.S. Gilbert, of course. Now, that gives us 2 methods of committing murder. One by boiling, and one by separating head from body. Now, Mr. Kieran? Another?
'Tis sweet to dance to violins when life and love are rare. To dance to lutes, to dance to flutes is delicate and rare, but it is not sweet with bitter feet to dance upon the air. Well, there's a word or 2 wrong, but that's hanging. Will that do?
You get the same effect whether you leave a word or 2. Yes, that'll do. Is that all right, Mr. Karloff? Now, that gives us 3 nice, clean methods. Mr. Adams?
Hanging Danny Deaver.
Hanging Danny Deaver. That gives us 2 hangings, a boiling, and an execution. There are a number of others.
There's still John Brown's body and the sour apple tree.
There would be another hanging. And from Hamlet, the drink, I'm poisoned. There, we must get poison in. Mr. Adams, you have another death on your mind? Another murder on your mind?
I don't think it's very well to say that with Southern people, but it wasn't John Brown that
No.
they hanged to a sour apple tree. It was the President of the Confederacy.
Hanged.
Well, this is no time to fight the war over again, Mr. Adams.
Well, anyway, the apple tree remained.
Yes, the apple tree does remain. Well, I
No
think
offense, Mr. Brown.
Massa Brown. That gives us several murders, 4 or 5. That's enough, I think. Try this one from P.J. Paxton of Atlanta, Georgia. What would be the objective of your voyage, gentlemen, if you had sailed in the following ships? I'll give you their names. If you had sailed in the ship called the Hispaniola, what would have been the objective of your voyage? Mr. Karloff.
Straits of Magellan.
Well, I didn't mean the geographical objective. I mean, what would you be sailing for? For what purpose? The Hispaniola. Now, are you thinking of Magellan, the ship in which Magellan sailed?
Yes.
And was it called the Hispaniola?
I hope so.
I'm not sure. You may be quite right, in which case your answer is perfectly right, Mr. Karloff, but I'm thinking of a fictional voyage rather than a real one. Well, it would be, Mr. Brown?
Would this by any chance? No.
You may be right. What do you lose?
I was going to guess Kingsley, but I...
No, but you're not too far away. It's Treasure Island. Treasure Island, and your objective would be treasure. All the mariners and Jim sailed in the ship called the Hispaniola. Well, that gives us one wrong. We have to get the next two right. If you sailed in a ship called the Patua, P-A-T-U-A, which I may be mispronouncing, what would you be doing in that ship, Mr. Karloff?
That's a Conrad story. That's Lord Jim.
That's exactly right,
And
Mr. Karloff.
that's the ship that they thought was going to sink. And they deserted it, and the ship actually stayed afloat.
You've given us the whole story. And what was the ship carrying? What sort of persons?
Some pilgrims.
Pilgrims, yes. 800 pilgrim passengers. That's exactly right, Mr. Karloff. And how about the objective of your trip if you were sailing in a ship called the Pilgrim? And this, again, is Mr. Kieran.
That's not fictional.
No, that isn't.
That sailed from Boston in about 1840, I should say, roughly, and it sailed around the Terra del Fuego and collected hides. That's 2 years before the mast.
Yes. A famous story by whom, Mr.
Dana.
Kieran? By Richard Henry Dana. That's 100% right. Very good, Mr. Kieran. Now try this one from Louis J. Naftatison of New York City, and get 2 out of 3 on this. This is about plays and movies. In what play or novel or movie does a psychiatrist try to help an anti-fascist? These all deal with psychiatrists. A psychiatrist, Mr. Brown.
Excuse me. It's an anti-fascist...
A psychiatrist tries to help an anti-fascist. This might be a novel. Matter of fact, it is a novel. That's not too easy. It's a novel, very good one, by a writer, Mr. Adams?
By Joseph Freeman.
No, though there is a
There is
psychiatrist
one,
and there is an anti-fascist there, and I'm not at all sure that isn't quite right, Mr. Adams. Mr.
There is
Brown?
in Tomorrow, the World, the psychiatrist, I think, for a time, tries to deal with the young child.
Well, he wouldn't be an anti-fascist.
Oh, well,
he's a fascist.
I beg your pardon.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's a novel called Arrival and Departure by Arthur Kessler. And Peter is the young
And it's
man.
in Lisbon. The scene is Lisbon.
No, although he doesn't say so.
But he practically
does, yes. Well, now, I have a feeling, Mr. Adams, that your answer is right. My recollection of Mr. Freeman's book would indicate that. How about this? In what movie does a psychiatrist try to help a suspected murderer? This is a movie, not too far ago. Well, it's a fairly recent movie. Very recent.
Try to help.
Pardon?
Try to help.
Try to help. A psychiatrist tries to help a suspected murderer. It's a movie that's on Broadway at the moment, I believe. I haven't seen it. Mr. Karloff, have you been to the movies lately?
Not too much.
They don't allow you in. I understand you scare the audience away. Mr. Kieran, do you?
No.
Well, it's a movie called Spellbound. I believe it's one of the 11 features in which Ingrid Bergman is now appearing on Broadway. And finally, in what play does a psychiatrist try to help a magazine editor? Mr. Karloff.
Lady in the Dark.
Lady in the Dark by Moss
Gertrude
Hart.
Lawrence.
Yes, that's very good and true. That gives us 2 out of 3. And what fictional character kept a record of victims of the guillotine? Kept a record of guillotine victims. Mr. Karloff.
In Charles Dickens's story, Tale of Two Cities.
That's quite right.
Her name was Defarge.
Yes. And how did she keep a record, Mr. Karloff?
I think she had some knitting.
Yes, she had some knitting, and she nipped the names into the knitting. Quite right. A cheerful thought. And what one kept a record of social offenders, a fictional character. This is a character in an operetta, I guess. Kept a record of social offenders. I have two hands. I'll try Mr. Brown on that.
The man who had a little list.
Very good.
He never will be missed.
That's the one. Where would you find him?
You'd find him in the Mikado.
Yes, and his name?
Oh, it's either Nanky Poo or Pooh Bah.
Mr. Adams? Thought you knew.
Might have been Coco.
Coco it is.
Yes, Coco. Oh, that timing, Adams. And what fictional character kept a record of lovers of mankind? Mr. Kieran.
Abu Ben Adam. The angel kept
The angel, yes, the angel. Abu was the one who was on the
That's
list. Yes. Very good. By the way, who wrote the poem?
Leigh Hunt.
Leigh Hunt. From Mary Gross of Norbert, Pennsylvania. Who in poetry or song or myth loved on Wednesday, but not on Thursday? This is a reference to a poem by Mr. Adams.
By Edna Millay.
That's quite right, Mr. Adams. Do you remember any of the lines in which you could back
And
up
if I
your-
loved you Wednesday, something like, what is that to me?
What is that to you?
What is that to you?
Yes. Well, there's all the difference in the world, Adam. And I do not love you Thursday, so much is true, is the way it goes on. In what, where, well, rather, who was a wife in the winter, but not in the summer? Mr. Kieran.
That was Persephone, or Proserpina, or Proserpine, however you want to pronounce her name.
Persephone, that's my daughter.
We'll call it Persephone.
That's in the Greek myths. That's the spirit of spring, the daughter of Demeter, the goddess of, or Ceres.
Stays underground during the winter, married to Pluto. And finally, who preferred last year's kisses? This is in song, popular song. Who preferred last year's kisses? So we've got 2 out of 3. I guess It's from Irving Berlin's song, This Year's Kisses, and it goes, this year's crop of kisses don't seem so sweet to me. This year's crop just misses what kisses ought to be. And our time is up.
This is the Armed Forces Radio Service.